Emergency services remain on scene, providing assistance and managing the incident.
Suspended Ekurhuleni Metro Police Department Deputy Chief Julius Mkhwanazi and the municipality's manager Kagiso Lerutla will return to the Boksburg Regional Court today. The state is expected to file changes that could include additional charges. Mkhwanazi and Lerutla are facing charges of fraud, corruption and defeating the ends of justice in connection with an alleged scheme in 2019. Demakaso Leshuro reports.
Prosecutors allege Lerutla paid 400,000 rand to Mkhwanazi and an impersonator to appear in court on his behalf after a speeding arrest while he attended an interview for the city's CFO position. The state has also linked Lerutla to a separate case in which a motorist was killed after a crash. Prosecutors allege he paid someone to dispose of the body. During Mkhwanazi's arrest, police found a large quantity of ammunition in his possession, which he claims he was lawfully authorized to keep before his suspension. The case was previously postponed to allow the state to finalize an amended charge sheet. Prosecutor Ncebantelwa said the docket has been disclosed to the defense, but further preparation was required before the matter can proceed. Both accused remain out on 30,000 rand bail. Dimakazo Leshoro, Eyewitness News.
Self-proclaimed informer and businessman Tumelo Nku will return to the Madlanga Commission today to continue with his testimony. Nku's testimony was postponed on Monday for him to prepare a supplementary affidavit. He has been questioned about his involvement and knowledge of a 300 million rand 2021 drug bust in the south of Joburg. Khomotso Modise has more.
When Tumelo Nku returned to the witness stand on Monday, he told the commission that he'd spoken to a spiritual leader who told him to return to the commission and the Lord would take care of the rest. But even after that, the commission said nothing had changed from his initial day of testimony, with Chair Mbuyiseli Madlanga saying the idea was that Nku would come clean, but that was not the case. This morning, Nku will testify on his supplementary affidavit after saying he made his initial testimony out of fear. Previously, Nku claimed to be a police source who tipped Gauteng police about the truck transporting cocaine from Durban to Johannesburg. He's expected to continue with this theme in his testimony this morning. Khomotso Modise, Eyewitness News.
And South Africa is set to play a central role in Google's Africa's next phase of digital expansion. The tech giant has announced major investments in connectivity, AI and skills development. At the inaugural Africa Cloud Summit held in Johannesburg, Google also announced it has already exceeded its 5-year target of investing $1 billion across the continent. Anelita Fandese has more.
Google has unveiled new projects, and among these is a new connectivity hub to be built in the Eastern Cape, the first of 4 planned hubs across the continent. Google also says they will invest 3 million rand in a digital innovation center in Soweto aimed at expanding access to technology skills and entrepreneurship opportunities. The tech giant is also backing the country's startups, with 15 local firms set to join Google's accelerator program as part of a broader commitment to support 50 African ventures by 2028. For South Africa, their investment could further cement its role as a regional technology hub and gateway to the continent's digital economy. Anelita Fandese, Eyewitness News.
Gold is trading at $4,071.25 an ounce. The rand is at 16.38 to the dollar, 21.80 to the pound, 18.67 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $70.74 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got delays on the N1 South between Rivonia Road and Winnie Mandela Drive heading towards Fourways while traveling in Pasonia. Unfortunately, that accident is still there, causing about a 20-minute hold-up as you come out of the Reading interchange. Please be on the lookout there and try to avoid. If you are able to try and avoid this backlog, try to use the N17 West into the Elands interchange.
A fine day in store for Gauteng. The temperatures will peak at highs between 15 and 18 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour, the death toll has risen to 16 following a bus crash in the Western Cape.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're with Clement Manyathela
on 702
Let's walk the talk. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856.
92.7 and 106 FM.
Eight minutes after 9 o'clock. Dumelang, Sanbonani, Bonjour. Welcome to the Clement Manyathela Show on this wonderful Thursday morning. It's great to be in your company. Thank you for joining us here on 702. I hope you're well this morning. The 702 open line starts now on 011 883 0702. If you want to send a WhatsApp voice note, do so on 072 702 1702. No interviews on the open line today, I promise. And I'm sorry again for taking the whole hour yesterday to talk to Paul Bowie, who is the CEO of Resolve Communications, because we spoke to him during the open line. I don't like it when I take your time, but I just thought it was an important conversation to have with him. So if you didn't get a chance to share your thoughts yesterday, feel free to do so on the open line this morning. A story that I must say excited me and piqued my interest, and not because I'm celebrating someone's moment of dismay or someone's unfortunate thing, but I was excited about the dismissal of SAP's Brigadier Rachel Macheng, because I really think people like her shouldn't be in the force, shouldn't be in the police service, I should say, not force. It's no longer a force. Do you remember her? This is the woman who received thousands and thousands of rands from Ket Matlala. Ket Matlala, who's just about to have a plea deal with the state confirmed, hopefully if he takes the plea deal now that it's no longer 8 years, but the magistrate is proposing 12 years. And he's going to start speaking and telling the state which of the other top cops were actually involved in his fraud and corruption with that tender of over 300 million rand. So, thousands and thousands of rands were given to this woman, Rachel Macheng, and to justify these payments, when she appeared before the Madlanga Commission, she tried to convince the commission that she and Matlala had previously been in a romantic relationship, even though there was not much evidence to this effect. Here's a reminder of what she told the commission when she appeared.
The romantic relationship was well known to people close to my circle, and it is an open secret that we were in an on and off relationship. Conclusion: during our relationship, I knew Mr. Matlala as a businessman, having several businesses like Cat VIP Company, Medicare 24/20 District, and other company. I have never borrowed money from Mr. Matlala, and the monies and gift received from 2017 was a gift from a boyfriend. None of the gift nor monies received from him were related to me having an influence to the awarding of the tender or the execution thereof, as I started receiving them from 2017 while being in our on and off relationship. From the inception of our romantic relationship, he will pay money directly into my FNB account. But when he was requesting another bank account, I asked him why another bank account, and he stated the following. He doesn't want the wife to find out about our relationship, the gift and the monies, because she knows me only as a friend. Now that he has a contract with SAPS, he doesn't want it to look like he's paying me for favors and doesn't want the gift to jeopardize my career, as other people might think about it in the wrong way.
Please, just stop it, Abel. Can't take it anymore. Good riddance, Rachel Macheng. She has now been dismissed by the SAPS. We do not need people like her in the SAPS. She was found guilty through a disciplinary hearing of accepting gratification, money laundering, improper conduct by advising Matala against the interests of the SAPS, dishonesty, and that's just among some of the charges that she faced. And I really think that there are a few top cops that are really being pushed out. Hey, Lesetja Senona, the KZN Hawks head, he has resigned. He admitted to be friends with Ket Matlala and that his son was doing business with him. Remember when he appeared before the commission?
The nature of my relationship with Mr. Matlala. Commissioners, I met Mr. Matlala around Vusimuzi Matlala around 2018, 2019, I think, around that year. And when we met, we were in Pretoria. It was a wedding, and for that matter, Commissioner Kumalo, it was my traditional wedding.
It was your own wedding?
No,
I'm not sure why you are addressing only me, General, but...
Well, you see...
So did you say that it was your own wedding?
For that matter, it's my traditional wedding. When I'm addressing the commissioners, and one of you is looking at me, my mind directly goes to, it's nothing sinister. I'm just afraid to address the chairperson.
He appeared and he spoke about how his son does business with Kat and how he's friends with Kat. Remember, he's the man who drove with Kat to go meet with Ntantlam Kwanazi, and he was like, yeah, he's a friend. I went and I just accompanied him. He's resigned. Good riddance. Who else recently got fired? Oh, Richard Shibiri. Remember him? The former head of organized crime. She also received monies from Kat Matlala and claimed it was a loan.
During that occasion, after the formalities were concluded, that we had a casual conversation which led to the issue of him loaning me money for the purpose of vehicle repairs. During the conversation, I mentioned that I was attempting to resolve the matter by selling livestock utilizing my personal saving in order to cover the repairs. Matlala indicated that if I should not succeed in raising the funds in time, you will be able to assist me. At approximately four days later, on the 18th, 24, Mr. Matlala contacted me to inquire whether I had managed to raise the required funds. I informed him that I had not yet succeeded, but that I was traveling to Limpopo at that time. When we then agreed that he would advance me personal loan by depositing the money directly into my son's bank account, as my son was responsible for arranging and repairs of the vehicle in Gauteng.
Please.
I forwarded my son's...
Stop talking. So, you know what? He told the commission, no, the loan was for my son because my son had issues with his car or an accident. The car needed to be repaired. And then the commission showed him his own bank statements where he went to, was it Gucci or Louis Vuitton? He went to some expensive shop to go buy something there. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, how are you taking a loan from a businessman because you're so desperate, you want to help your son, but you are busy going on a shopping spree to these expensive shops? please, man. These people think we're children. Good riddance. They're out of the South African police service. In fact, some of them are out as they retire. I actually wish this impacted them much earlier so that they can see the consequences and they can learn from that. And because they have betrayed their profession, they've betrayed this country, and may they learn from these consequences of their actions. Tell me, when last did you see such swift action? I mean, the Madlanga Commission, no doubt, is the first commission we have had to produce results so quickly and be so decisive. But also the SAPS has really stepped up here with pushing for these people's dismissals. I mean, they never act so swiftly. So thanks to the SAPS as well for stepping up the game. More of this, please. Now go get Tiger. The man that you as the SAPS officials, some of your members helped him escape. That ringleader in the Northwest in illegal mining. The same swiftness, let's get it on Tiger so that he gets arrested and the people who helped him escape get arrested. Let me know what your reflections are on these developments. And then yesterday we spoke about the former President Jacob Zuma in his trip to India. He met with fugitives from justice, the Gupta brothers, and we asked the MK party yesterday whether they will discipline him because they disciplined Floyd Shivambu, and he met with a fugitive from justice in Malawi, Shepard Bushiri. And of course, the MK party didn't respond to us. No surprise there. But take a listen to what Zuma said recently when he was in India. I mean, you can't make this stuff up.
I'm very happy that I visited this great country at the right time. I was coming to a brother and friend of mine that was in South Africa for a long time because of some people in South Africa who were not happy with what they were doing in the country, that I was working with him as well. They decided to say he must leave the country. And that was a very unfortunate thing. So my friend said he would love me to visit this wonderful place. I've been in the big city, but I haven't been on this part where he comes from. And I was very happy that I will have that opportunity, particularly because I'm contesting. And he, therefore, did say that he has his brother and friend. And I was very keen to see the brother and friend. And yesterday I had an opportunity for the first time to see this man of God. I'm telling you, I feel I am going to win the elections because people of God, they've been with me.
Yeah. Hi, guys. So he didn't even just go to India like in Mumbai, or he went to like the village of. That's how I'm looking at it, because he says I've never been to my friends where my friend comes from. It's like me taking someone to Falbank in Mpumalanga where I grew up. I mean, it must be such a close personal relationship for you to do that. All the way from South Africa, you went to meet with someone who is wanted by the authorities in South Africa. You are a former head of state. And there are people that you're leading that are okay with that. They're okay with that. Because the MK party is distancing itself. They're not calling it out. They're just distancing themselves. And they're saying, well, it was a private trip. So maybe Mzanele Manyi should be the one that speaks on this. I contacted Mzanele Manyi because I said, come on the show and explain what happened. He says, no, this is a private trip. It's like you asking me to give you details of a doctor's appointment. Really? So my question to you then is it enough? Is it enough for the MK party to say, we had nothing to do with this. We're distancing ourselves. This was a private visit by the former President Jacob Zuma. But still, he met with a fugitive from justice. Whether it was in his individual capacity or as an official of the MK party, does that not concern you? But it did concern you what Floyd Shivambu did it? So do you think this absolves Zuma of any responsibility? And what do you make of the people who are led by Zuma, who sit in the leadership of the MK party? I mean, if this is the stuff that they have to tolerate and try and justify and make sense of, even when it's unjustifiable, because many of them are speaking out against this trip. Some of the leaders of the MK party, Mahasela Mzobe is a former head of security in the office of the MK party president. He wrote an entire Twitter post where he's basically saying, we didn't know about this, Mzanele knew, this is not looking good for us. But you've got other MK leaders who are going to try everything possible to defend and justify Zuma's actions, because that's it, right? Yebo baba, yebo baba. Even when Ubaba is doing weird things. At 10 o'clock, we're going to do our hanging out feature. And today, we're hanging out with veteran broadcaster and newsroom leader Katie Katapodis. I mean, this woman has shaped the country's journalism from the newsroom floor to the editor's chair for close to 3 decades. I mean, I tweeted earlier that name any great journalist, and I can assure you, any great broadcast journalist, I can assure you their paths have crossed with Katie's. Many come from her hands, and I've had the opportunity of being hired by her to actually join this company, Prime Media, when she hired me to be a reporter at Eyewitness News. So we're going to be hanging out with her between 10 and 11 o'clock. And then at 11 o'clock, we're going to do our Thursday dialogue. And in the wake of the conversation with Paul Bowie, the CEO of Resolve Communications yesterday, we're asking, when is lobbying right and done right? And when is it undue influence? I've got a panel of guests who are going to join me for this chat at 11 o'clock. That's the show coming up over the next 3 hours.
Clement Manyathela, streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Good morning, Clement. Pat here from Stadium. I think Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhonazi is the main man. We wouldn't be where we are now if it wasn't about him. And yes, there is results now, but what about other provinces? There still should be corruption there. What is going to happen after this Madlanga Commission? I think they also have to make means to see if they're going to clear up all the police leaders.
Hey, morning, Clem. O'Brien Tosdoras. Clement, you mustn't feel bad about Rachel being dismissed. In fact, you must feel sad that she is not yet arrested. When she gets arrested and sentenced in jail, that's when we must start celebrating. Because even her boyfriend has been arrested. So only when she is sentenced, we must start celebrating.
Why are you speaking like you're mimicking Rachel Macheng? Did you hear how she spoke? And I don't know if it was intentional. Like, yeah, that is my boyfriend there. Do you remember how she spoke? She was so nonchalant about it. Like, she had no care in the world. Remember how she spoke?
The romantic relationship was well known to people close to my circle, and it is an open secret that we were in an on and off relationship. Conclusion: during our relationship, I knew Mr. Matlala as a businessman, having several businesses like Cat VIP Company, Medicare 2420 District, and other company.
Ugh! So irritating. So irritating hearing from someone who's treating you like a fool. I mean, the commissioners were just sitting there thinking, what? And they're like, show us, where's the evidence that you guys are in a relationship? Where is the evidence there? None whatsoever. So it's her nonchalant attitude, like no care in the world about this. And I think that's demonstrated in how she was speaking, how she was addressing the commission, because she just doesn't give a hoot. She doesn't understand the magnitude of what she has found herself in. Let's go to more of your WhatsApps.
In the team, Tawang here from Cape Town. I am also excited. I'm happy that the SAPs are cleaning up, like taking out the bad apples in their force, in their services. I mean, but what I would be even more happier when they replaces those spots post with clean people, because there's no use for us being happy now because the Majing is out, Sinona's out, Shibir is out, and then they replace them with the same Shibir, Sinona, and Majing again. So I hope they do a proper clean out, because this is their opportunity to make sure that the police, work for this country. So I hope they clean up and then they bring in clean people, because then will be a waste of new renewal, if I can put it that way.
Morning, Clement. With Kat Matlala facing a minimum of 12 years in jail and some of his friends being let go in our criminal justice system, does not stop the criminality. They will come after the people that stood against them, even when Kat is in jail, unless he's sent there at Bongweni in the maximum security prison. Then the society of South Africa will be safer. It's not enough to just lock him for 12 years. He will operate. His influence in the criminal justice system will not fade away because he's in jail. And all of these people that benefited from his monies will suddenly change and do good for us. No. He must be locked at the maximum prison in Epongweni so that he has no contact with anyone for the next 12 years.
By the way, there's breaking news on ENCA now that Kat Matlala has been subpoenaed to appear at the Madlanga Commission next week. So that's what ENCA is breaking now. So he's already appeared before the ad hoc committee, and now, seemingly he's going to appear before the Madlanga Commission, which is going to be more interesting than the ad hoc committee because, Madlanga Commission has investigative power. So there's information they have that they're going to put to this man, and I don't think he'll be able to dispute. But also, in the wake of this agreement he has with the state to tell on the other top cops that he has given monies to get this contract, I think he's going to be dishing out a lot at the Madlanga Commission when he appears next week. Apparently he's been subpoenaed. That's a story that ENCA is running now. Okay, let's hear what some of you have had to say about the former President Jacob Zuma and his trip to see his brother in India.
Dumela Clement, Rama Dumeja. Tlogela mogala ba batho a lore. A lore mogala bo sa bone kare bophelo bo sala bobebe ba fena. A no lore a gona bothata mo tlogeleng. Ba re ikwa ya rara. Mbija here the e-hailing driver.
Good morning, Clement, your team. Can somebody tell Mzwandile Manyi or Zuma himself that the Guptas nobody have chased them away. They've run away from being prosecuted in this country after what they've done during the state capture. Oh, it's their brother and friends. But for Floyd Shivambu, when he visited Bushiri, it's something else. Where is the MK party to defend the indefensible, Clement, from Max in Pretoria?
9:30, exactly on the spot. Sfisa Zulu.
Congratulations, well done. I'm so proud of you. Let me just go right ahead.
I'm on a mission today to be on time. Good morning.
Thanks, Clemens. Good morning. At least 16 people have died in a bus crash in the Western Cape. 73 passengers were on board when it overturned on the N1 near Toes Rivier, and this was in the early hours of this morning. 2 people sustained injuries and have been taken to hospital. Suspended Ekurhuleni Metro Police Department Deputy Chief Julius Mkhwanazi and Municipal Manager Kagiso Lerutla will return to the Boksburg Regional Court today. The state is expected to file changes that could include additional charges. Mkhwanazi and Lerutla are so far facing charges of fraud, corruption and defeating the ends of justice in connection with an alleged scheme in 2019. And the Interministerial Committee on Migration will assess the deportation and repatriation of undocumented undocumented foreign nationals at the Beitbridge border post. At least 10,000 people have been camping in Musina for 3 days while waiting for documentation from the Home Affairs Department so that they can cross the border. The department says more than 30,000 Malawians coming from KwaZulu-Natal have so far been approved to return home. And those are the headlines this EWN, and more at 10 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
While traveling in Pasonia, we still have got that major accident seen on the N12 West. It happened right near Komara Street. It's now causing delays coming out of the Reading interchange. About a 30-minute hold up there. Please be on the lookout and drive with care and try to avoid the scene. You can use the R59 South or even the N17 West into areas like Turfontein. And then traveling on the M1 South, we've got delays. This is between the Baklu interchange and Marlborough Drive. Another accident seen there. There's also queuing traffic on the Witkoppen Road. This is in the Pulshof area just as you approach Rivonia Road, and that's due to roadworks there. Please be on the lookout for men and women working the road there while traveling in Germiston. More roadworks are causing delays along the N3 North towards Van Buren Road. More updates at the top of the hour.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Whether it is a CCMA referral, problems with a mechanic, unfair blacklisting, or an uncontested divorce, Clientele Legal offers professional legal services to all South Africans. Our plans are affordable, and you receive up to 745,000 rand worth of legal services per year. We cover civil, criminal, and labor-related matters. Our nationwide legal teams are standing by to support you 24 hours a day. Plus, all plans include a 5,000 rand bail benefit. Join today. SMS LEGAL to 48721. That's legal to 48721. Clientele General is an authorized FSP and licensed non-life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
Mzansi, the excitement is building. The 130th running of the Hollywood Bets Durban July takes place on Saturday, 4 July. This year's theme, Country Allure, draws from the richness of our land, a celebration of heritage, freedom and style, inspired by our beautiful countryside. It's more than a race. It's where champions are made, stories are written, and greatness is unleashed. World-class horse racing, bold fashion, music, culture, and a day of endless excitement at Hollywood Bets Greyville Racecourse. Get your tickets now at Ticket Pro and release your glamour at the Hollywood Bets Durban July, Africa's greatest horse racing and social event.
It's always the same with you. I want this, I need that, and somehow I am always the one paying for it. I think we need a little time apart. Not forever, just long enough for me to build some interest again. After all, distance makes the funds grow stronger.
Give your money time this July savings month. Open a Nedbank 32-day notice account in under 2 minutes and earn up to 7.55% interest with 0 monthly fees. Go to nedbank.co.za. See money differently. Nedbank, we're a licensed FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela.
On 702.
25 minutes before 10 o'clock. This is the 702 open line. Back to your calls and WhatsApps 011-883-0702. WhatsApps on 072-702-1702.
Rachel Nuchibiri no Senona. Is the bar that low? Because I feel like why are they not being criminally charged? Is it enough to get fired? Is it enough to resign? I mean, I see with Rachel Macheng, with the cases of money laundering, isn't that a criminal offense? Because if we leave the bar so low, then I mean, it doesn't make for deterrent. Because I mean, the highest anybody would face is resignation and losing their job, whilst they have been accused of very serious criminal cases. Can't they be charged? Just losing your job, is that enough? I understand Rachel has got multiple guest houses that are proceed from corruption. I mean, she's sorted for life in that case. Prince in Johannesburg.
But Prince, they're charged. Remember, these people have appeared. Rachel is one of the 12, I think. Is it 12? Or the number has gone up. 12 SAPS top cops who were arrested. So they are facing charges. There's a criminal process that's underway. But these are two separate processes. Right now, she's fired. And may she never, ever, ever work within the SAPs, especially because there's no accountability. You know, there's grace we can give to people when they admit that what they have done was wrong and they've learned from their mistakes and they're willing to take the consequence. And I just feel like some of these cops, many of them are just not interested in accepting that we messed up here. We messed up here, we're going to go and do better. Because then we can say, okay, this person learns from their mistake. Let them go to jail. When they come back, they can reintegrate. Let's give them another opportunity. These ones, they have not once. They've come up with all sorts of justifications and weird explanations about why Ket Matlala gave them money. So may she never work in the SAPS or entirely in the state. Because anybody who's a public official and betrays their profession like that when they're serving the public, what makes you think they're not going to do it again?
Hey, morning, Clement. It's Appa here from Bucksburg. Clement, like you said, good riddance. That Margin lady was supposed to be fired long time ago because if you listened to his testimony, it was clear that he had something to do with CAT contracts. If you check those WhatsApp messages they were sharing, remember there was a time whereby that same lady was in a meeting with the SAPS management, I think, and then he was telling Kat what was happening in that meeting. So that lady was supposed to be fired a long time ago, to be honest. Let's just face it. He was supposed to be fired a long time ago. So I'm glad that it happened now. Great show as always, Clement.
Why aren't these people getting arrested? Because they were assisting, upbraiding this corruption to continue. Are they not supposed to be accomplices of what happened, with that tender? I mean, firing them, I find it just not enough. These people must just go to prison. That's just how it is. And lying to the commission as well, is it not defeating the ends of justice? Again, assisting crime to continue, not wanting to take accountability. They must rot in jail. Firing them is just giving them their pensions money, and making them more rich. They must, that money must be defeated to the state as well.
Good morning, Clemmy. The one thing that I still think must be implemented is one. When public bearers, office bearers do corruption, they should start taking from their pension. They should really take in from their pension, because the minute they touch their pension, a lot of them will understand and know how painful it is to do corruption.
Absolutely agree with you. I was saying earlier this morning to the producers that I really feel sorry for the kids of these compromised people. I really do, because I can only imagine if it was my dad or my mom or a close relative of mine in my immediate family who was responsible for all of this. Like, did they not think about that? Because I imagine their kids. I mean, can you imagine Shibiri's kids? They've got nothing to do with this. Sinona's kids, that son who was busy doing business with Cat probably was just told, hey, because we know how crooks operate. They're smart about how they do corruption. You don't give your account to a criminal to bless you. You actually use people that are close to you. You can use your son, you can use your daughter, you can use your cousin. So you think Sinona's son was told, hey, Ket Matlala is a dangerous man. And I'm sure he was just told, son, give me your account number. You want to be talking to this guy. He's going to buy a flat. And just take whatever he gives you. I've spoken to him. Or Rachel, I'm not sure if she's got kids. Or Shibiri, if he's got kids. Like, what are can you imagine the embarrassment on the kids? Because they are professionals, I would imagine. Some of them are our age, older, younger. They must still be at work. They must still be in their social circles. I feel for them. And I hope these their fathers, their mothers have sat them down and apologized to them. Because how dare you impugn the reputation of your family like that? And you want to go out on a public place and try claim to be an innocent man? I mean, your children are also not children. They can see that our papa, mona our. I feel for those kids, honestly. It's 19 minutes now before 10 o'clock.
Your voice,
Your station.
your open line
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela.
on 702.
Good morning, Clement. This is Sim. In all honesty, Clement, MK party is Jacob Zuma's party. He's the one who's calling the shots. Like he's a supreme leader of that organization. So how would you expect them to discipline him? Who is going to do it? Because they are all at this mess. They jump to his crumpet. So there's no way, Clement, that those people are going to discipline him. It's like there's a CEO in a company who is doing all the hiring and the firing. There's no HR. Like he's in charge of everything. So none of the employees will discipline him. That's how it works with MK Party.
No, good morning, Madi Major. I hope you are well, but no. Jacob Zuma is a very old man. He's a very old man. He speaks exactly his age. He's dreaming. He's in dreamland, man. No, Jacob Zuma. No. Yeah, he's an old man. Joe. Kalawe. He speaks like an old man. He actually must born a media. No. He must not get that attention. He'll say the wrong things in the media. That guy's old. He must just retire.
Yeah. I mean, clearly he doesn't want to retire. And clearly the people around him also don't want him to retire. You can see that he is now beginning to be a liability. Are you picking that up as well? It almost feels like it's starting to become a liability for the MK party, and the leadership of the MK party understands that you can't just kick him out because the MK party is Zuma. So if you remove him from the MK party, I don't see the party performing as successfully as it did in the previous elections. So what do you do as the leadership? Do you just wait until he's unable to really even attend meetings and lead? What do you do? Because he's becoming a liability. But then again, do you think that the MK party supporters really care about these things we're discussing? And if you're an MK party supporter, I would like to hear from you because, I mean, your thoughts also matter here. I'd like to know do you care that the president of your organization has gone and met with a fugitive from justice in India? Do you understand the state capture project that we've experienced in this country and how instrumental the architects of that project were, like Atul and Rajesh Gupta and the family? And if you accept the consequences, that some of which are still felt today as a result of state capture because of the Gupta family, how could you be okay with your president going to India? So the point I'm trying to make then is I don't really think that the MK party supporters think a lot about like, oh, Zuma went to this, or Zuma went to, did he go the last time? Morocco, or Zuma did this or said this. I don't think they care much about that. I think they just care like, oh, Zuma is our president and let's go. Because if they do, then how could you be okay with it? And if you've raised it internally, please let me know. Give me a call. Let me know that maybe you have raised it internally in your organization. But the sense I'm getting is, there's no care here. But I'm picking up from the leadership of the MK party that something is shifting. They're seeing that their leader is beginning to be a liability. And he's getting too old now. So there are people who then are influencing him. And sometimes that's not in the good interest, in the best interest of the organization. Sometimes it's to the detriment of the MK party. So I wonder what the strategy of this leadership is on how to deal with such an influential man who has led really to the success of this organization. Hey? 14 minutes before 10 o'clock.
What I love about this year's 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk is that it's taking people back into the Joburg CBD. And for people to be able to see the work that Josie My Josie has been doing, how they've been fixing up the city, I'm so excited for people to see that. You should take part in this year's Walk the Talk, because if you haven't been into the Joburg CBD in a long time because you're worried about safety, about crime, it's an incredible opportunity for you to go and see what's been happening in the Joburg CBD, what Josie My Josie has been doing, what the residents of Joburg have been doing. This year, I'm going to take part in the Walk the Talk because I can't wait to see the reaction of people when they go back to the Joburg CBD and to just feel that energy and feel the pulse of the city, and for people to return and for the city to be rejuvenated and for people to want to get involved in being part of that. To enter the 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk, go to primemediaplus.com. I'll see you on the streets.
Every time a new technology emerges, it goes to enterprises first. Big business gets payment, independent businesses wait. Big business gets AI, independent businesses wait. Independent businesses employ 60% of the South African economy and keep money in communities, and they've always been last in line. Yoko exists to change that, to give you AI that guides you on what to do next, loyalty that rewards your customers automatically, tools built for your reality, the unfair advantage for the business that deserves it most. Yoko, let's grow.
To walk the talk is to turn words into meaningful actions. And it's what we at 702 are committed to doing every day. We are also committed to following the rules set out by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission's Code of Conduct, to give you balanced programming, fair comments, and accurate news. But if we stumble along the way and you feel we are not living up to the code, let us know on comment@702.co.za. And if after that you're still not happy, you can direct your complaint in writing to the Broadcasting Complaints Commission. Email bccsa@nabsa.co.za. For more, visit bccsa.co.za.
The Dial-A-Bed annual sleep sale is now on with up to 33% off. The Sealy Celebration Plush Comfort Queen Set is now only $8,999, and the 40-wing Smart Zone Medium Comfort Queen Set is reduced to $9,999. Save $6,500. Plus, get fast delivery on our best sellers. Dial-A-Bed, sleep for life.
It's your last chance to enter. The Nedbank Business Ignite on 702 is closing entries soon. This year, we're celebrating entrepreneurs who've turned personal challenges into businesses that make a real difference. Catch 702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa every morning to meet the finalists and hear their inspiring stories. Go to igniteyourbusiness.co.za or primemediaplus.com to enter. You could win 200,000 Rand and the recognition your business deserves. T's and C's apply. See money differently. Nedbank, an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
10 minutes before 10 o'clock, we are just about to wrap up the 702 open line this morning. I'm taking your calls, your WhatsApps on the conversations we're having on the show this morning, including one about the SAPS top cops who are being fired. I say good riddance. Rachel Macheng is now out. She's been dismissed by the SAPS. She's been found guilty through a DC of a number of things. One, accepting gratification, money laundering, improper conduct by advising Matlala against the interests of the SAPS. She's been found guilty of dishonesty as well. She received so much money from Ket Matlala, and to justify it because she thinks we're stupid, she says, no, we were boyfriend and girlfriend, and Matlala was cheating on his wife, and it was known in our circle, even though there wasn't really much evidence. And I think her justification was that, no, but when he's cheating, obviously we can't be too lovey-dovey on the phone like that. Well, I'm hoping that she's one of the people that Ket Matlala is going to speak about once or if he accepts that plea deal, because he's got to give information that's going to lead to successful prosecutions of some of these top cops that have benefited from the monies that he received from the SAPS through that tender. We're also talking about the former president Jacob Zuma this morning because the MK party has now come out, well, some of its leaders have now come out to say, we were not involved in the trip the former president undertook to India, where he met with the Guptas, fugitives from justice. And of course, the MK party can't endorse that because they are the same party that took action against Floyd Shivambu when he went to meet with Shepard Bushiri in Malawi, who is also a fugitive from justice. So I want to know if you think this absolves Zuma of any responsibility. And is it enough for the MK party to say, he went there in his private capacity? I mean, even Mzwanele Manyi, who speaks on behalf of Zuma in his private office with his foundation, doesn't want to come on air. We've asked him. And he says, no, this was a private trip. Okay, but come explain. Like, do you as a foundation, or does the former president even understand that these people are fugitives from justice? Well, I guess you also can't ask Mzwanele that because didn't he buy the New Age newspaper? Wasn't he involved there with, had a transaction with the Guptas? Well, they went to visit their pal in India, not even in the capital city right where the Gupta's brothers come from, where they grew up. That's what Zuma is effectively telling us in that video that's now doing the rounds. I came to see my brother where he comes from. So, do you think he's a liability for the MK party? Because if the MK party dares to take action against him, I think that's the end of the organization in the way we know it today. What do you think?
Clement, I'll make an example with look at your parents and grandparents. I don't know if you notice that the older they get, the more they get stuck on a routine they are used to. You think Jacob Zuma, the criminal, the old man he is gonna change? You think he has it in him to change his routine of being a criminal? He's tasted the power of being a president. That's why he wants to go back there. His friends are still full on his dinner table. They all want to eat. He has fed a few of them. There's still more food. They want to sit on a dinner table and have a buffet of our country.
Morning, Clement. Morning. Great show as always. Casual from Boxburg. I really think Jacob is becoming a liability now. And his MK party people can also see. And I'm sure when no one is listening, they're thinking to themselves, what are we going to do with this old man? What the hell is he doing going all the way to India to meet with people who are wanted by justice? So, yeah, shame. At the same time, he's old and tired, he's trying to stay relevant. But yeah, what he's doing is just early signs of liability. Thank you, Clement. Great show.
In fact,
bye.
Sure, brother. Thank you. In fact, Makhaselam Zobe tweeted this. Let me read this tweet to you. I mentioned it earlier, but I want to read all of it so you get a sense of how unhappy seemingly the MK party is. Makhaselam Zobe was basically the go-to man if you want to see the president. He was the head of the presidency in the MK party. So that's the man who was traveling with the president, who was possibly involved even in his diary. So he was quite a powerful person in the Zuma's office. And he was, I heard from people in the MK party at the time that he was pushed out. Well, he claimed, no, he wants to focus on other responsibilities in the party. But he no longer has that level of proximity to Jacob Zuma. And this is what he tweeted yesterday. He said, and I quote, "It's a collective responsibility of both the MK party leadership and membership to protect its president from any possible harm, politically or otherwise. The reported meeting of President Zuma with Ajay Gupta is harmful to our president and the movement as a whole. I hope the MK party leadership won't entangle itself, the president and our movement, into this Manyi-Gupta entanglement. Comrade Mzwanele Manyi and the Jacob Zuma Foundation must take full responsibility for the Indian trip presented to the president as a private visit for religious purposes. In the 18 months I spent as the MK party head of presidency, never once did President Zuma or the leadership of the MK party have any interaction with the Guptas or any of their associates. I comradely appeal to the leadership to protect the president and our movement and hold Comrade Mani accountable for this, like we did with Comrade Duduzile on the Russia debacle and Comrade Floyd Shivambu on Malawi. That's what Mahashala Mzobe tweeted, and that just gives you a sense of some of the sentiments within the MK party regarding this trip to India to meet with the Guptas.
Morning, Clement. I've said it before and I'm going to say it again. 98% of SAP's members gives the other 2% a bad name. They are rotten to the core. Every man has got his price. And these guys are in the job not as a career, but only to benefit financially for themselves. What a shame. What a shocker. Theo Pretoria.
My name is Manyathela. And the listeners, I believe, and my belief is that there's two parts to it. The part of being fired, it's understandable. It's regarding the ethics and compliance, but I still believe that the state should still proceed and press charges against of misconduct. Not even misconduct, but basically, abusing the assets of the state. So there should be two charges. There should be a charge, a criminal charge, and there should be the ethics and compliance from the employment side, where they dismiss them, which is one part, but the second part should be pressing charges and being prosecuted for abusing the state funds. Thanks, MJ.
Yeah. Well, MJ, as I said earlier, there's some of these people have been charged. We're just waiting for the NPA to go to trial. And I think with Ket Matlala now having agreed, well, he's still deciding, but I think it would be naive of him to not take this plea deal. But he's still deciding because the magistrate says, not 8 years. Rather, let's send him to jail for 12 years in exchange for the information he'll give us that implicates some of these top senior cops. But many of these top cops that we're talking about that are being dismissed by the SAPS are already charged. So we're just waiting for trial. And I think with Ket Matlala now potentially going to be a state witness, they are going down. I think we'll see some successful prosecutions. But more importantly, set your alarms for next week because Ket Matlala is going to appear before the Madlanga Commission. The breaking news this morning is that the Madlanga Commission has subpoenaed him. So he has already appeared before the ad hoc committee. This time around, he's appearing before the Madlanga Commission. And Madlanga Commission doesn't play. They've got investigative power, so he better know his story. But also, I wonder if he goes there after having accepted this plea deal, is he going to start talking and revealing it all at the Madlanga Commission about some of the top cops that were involved? Because that's exactly what he's going to tell the police anyway, and we're going to find out about it because it's going to be in court. Oh, it's going to be so fascinating next week. I'm telling you. Chapter Favor on the WhatsApp line says, Clement, I don't think their children. Okay, so he's responding to what I said earlier about the children of some of these top cops. I wonder if these top cops actually care about the embarrassment they have caused their children. So Chapter 4 says, Clement, I don't think their children are as worried as you may think they are. Look at Zuma's children. Do you think they are bothered? I wonder, but Zuma also has a number of children. I don't think all of them are just look at their father as this hero who saved South Africa. I think some of them probably sit and say, but daddy was a bit dodgy here and there. I don't know. It's 10 o'clock.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. Alleged crime kingpin Vusmuzi Ket Matlala has been subpoenaed to appear before the Madlanga Commission next Tuesday, and this is despite attempts to avoid testifying through a plea agreement with the state. This development comes a day after the Pretoria Commercial Crimes Court rejected his initial plea deal with the NPA. And under this original agreement, negotiated with prosecutors, Matlala would have received an effective 8-year prison sentence and would have been excused excused from appearing before the Commission of Inquiry. The NPA says Manyathela now has until the 13th this month to decide whether to accept the revised plea agreement, which would see him serve an effective 12-year prison sentence. Meanwhile, suspended Ekurhuleni Metro Police Department Deputy Chief Julius Mkhonazi, who has ties to Manyathela, is appearing in the Boksburg Regional Court this morning. He's joined by Municipal Manager Kagiso Lerutla as the state is expected to file charges and changes and include additional charges against him. Mkhonazi and Lerutla are so far charged with fraud, corruption and defeating the ends of justice in connection with an alleged scheme in 2019. Demakasa Leshuro has more.
Prosecutors allege Lerutla paid 400,000 rand to Mkhonazi and an impersonator to appear in court on his behalf after a speeding arrest while he attended an interview for the city's CFO position. The state has also linked Lerutla to a separate case in which a motorist was killed after a crash. Prosecutors allege he paid someone to dispose of the body. During Mkhonazi's arrest, police found a large quantity of ammunition in his possession, which he claims he was lawfully authorized to keep before his suspension. The case was previously postponed to allow the state to finalize an amended charge sheet. Prosecutor Ncebantelwa said the docket has been disclosed to the defense, but further preparation was required before the matter can proceed. Both accused remain out on 30,000 rand bail. Timakatso Leshoro, Eyewitness News.
At least 16 people have died in a bus crash in the Western Cape. 73 passengers were on board when it overturned on the N1 near Touwsrivier, and this was in the early hours of this morning. 2 people sustained injuries and have been taken to hospital. The Western Cape Mobility Department's Maxine Bezuidenhout.
We can confirm an incident on the N1 near Touwsrivier at approximately 20 to 1 this morning, where a bus transporting 73 South African residents has overturned. Tragically, 16 people have lost their lives while 2 others sustained serious injuries.
And the Interministerial Committee on Migration will assess the deportation and repatriation of undocumented foreign nationals at the Beitbridge border today. At least 10,000 people have been camping in Musina for 3 days while waiting for documentation from the Home Affairs Department so that they can cross the border. The department says more than 30,000 Malawians coming from KwaZulu-Natal have been approved to return to their home country. Alfara Mushwana reports.
Thousands of Malawian nationals who've been stranded in Musina for the past 3 days have grown frustrated. They were initially accommodated at a repatriation center in Durban before being transported to a similar facility in Musina. This Malawian national says all he wants is to return to his home country.
Sonke sifuna sihambe. Yeah. Sonke sifuna sihambe. All of us, we don't want to sleep here. We are sleeping in the street.
But Home Affairs Minister Leon Schreiber says it would be reckless to let them go without completing the necessary procedures.
And really the process is complex. You have to check that someone who needs to be repatriated or wants to be repatriated is not wanted for a crime in South Africa. You have to, if they are illegally in the country, we as Home Affairs, we have to record their biometrics and declare them undesirable in terms of the Immigration Act.
Today, the Interministerial Committee on Migration will shed light on how the process is going. Alpha Ramshwana, Eyewitness News, Musina.
Gold's trading at $4,071.25 an ounce. The rand is at 16.38 to the dollar, 21.80 to the pound, 18.67 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $70.74 a barrel.
There's queuing traffic on the M1 South. This is in the Calvin area. That's due to a car that has overturned in the left lane. Please be on the lookout there and approach with care while traveling on the N12 West. Bumper-to-bumper traffic between the Reading Interchange and Komara Street exit. That's due to a major accident scene causing more than a 20-minute hold-up.
A fine day in store for Gauteng. The temperatures will peak at highs between 15 and 18 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. Alleged crime kingpin Vusmuzi Kat Manyathela has been subpoenaed to appear before the Madlanga Commission next Tuesday.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
Let's walk the talk. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856.
92.7 and 106 FM.
6 minutes after 10 o'clock. Dumelang, welcome to the second hour of the Clement Manyathela Show. Thank you for staying with us here on 702, and thank you for your contributions on the 702 open line today. Remember, at 11 o'clock, we're going to have our Thursday dialogue feature, and today, in the wake of the conversation that I had with Paul Bowie, who is the CEO of Resolve Communications, we're going to be asking, when is it lobbying right and when is it not? Right? When is it undue influence? That's a conversation we're going to have. I've got a panel of guests, and we'll talk about also the regulatory framework that is possibly necessary now so that you regulate how lobbying generally operates in South Africa. So that's going to be our conversation on our Thursday dialogue at 11 o'clock. But right now, we start with our Across the Desk feature.
Hanging out with Clement
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Across the Desk is tomorrow at 10. This is our hanging out feature, and I'm really excited this morning to be hanging out with someone I've been trying to get on the show for a while, and I'm glad I finally have her on the show. When did I ask her? Probably about a year, if not a year and a half ago. We're hanging out today with a veteran broadcaster, a newsroom leader, Katie Katapodis. She really is the editor extraordinaire. I was telling Bongani this morning that show me any great broadcast journalist, and I can tell you, chances are their paths have crossed with Katie's. Just think of any great broadcast journalist right now, and you know that their paths have crossed with Katie's. A lot of us come from her hands, and as I said, she's the woman who gave me an opportunity to join Prime Media. I was hired by her to be a reporter at Eyewitness News back in, I think it was 2015, 2016. And 10 years later, I'm still here. Katie Katapodis, welcome to the show. Good morning.
Hello, Clement. It's so wonderful to be here. You and I have finally got this right.
Yes, we finally got it right.
I'm so happy to be in the studio across from you today.
It's so great to have you. Do you feel weird being across me now and doing this in studio? Because normally we interview people. We don't like being interviewed.
Well, exactly. And, as I walked in, I thought to myself, I'm actually strangely nervous.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm used to microphones. I'm used to studios. I've done this my entire career.
Yeah.
But to be on the other side and to be interviewed as opposed to being the interviewer. No, it's odd. It's odd.
No, that's great. It's great to have you back. I mean, you've been with Prime Media for how long? You were with Prime Media for...
So I was with Prime Media for a very long time. That was like the main part of my career. It was just over 20 years. Was it 21, 22 years? I started at Prime Media, green, just out of a community radio station. I had finished from Wits, so I started at a community radio station. And then, Prime Media had a business back in the day called Broadcast Resources. They were way ahead of their time, by the way. Broadcast Resources was a news organization that supplied news to all community radio stations. So that was actually my first gig at Prime Media. And I would come and do overnight news, and it would go to all community radio stations across the country.
Jeez, that's interesting. So you started reading the news, and then you became news editor, then editor-in-chief of EWN.
So I started reading the news on Broadcast Resources. Then I moved to 702 as a reporter. So I was a field reporter for a long time. And then I became a news anchor, which I absolutely loved. My friends tell me, Clement, that in primary school, during break, we used to play pretend news bulletins.
Really?
And I was the news anchor.
In primary
I don't
school?
remember this.
Wow.
But they tell me, they even once showed me the tree we sat under, where we did these fake news bulletins.
I think it makes a lot of sense, because I remember when I was in the newsroom during your time, when they were breaking news, like, you used to want to be there. Like, sometimes you'd come back, if you had left or ready to go home, you'd come back because there's a big news story.
Yes.
And you are involved in the newsroom, which is quite rare. So I guess it makes sense, because this love started from the time when you were in primary school. I want us to go back, to really that time. So primary school, you're doing this, you don't remember that. When then did you realize that I actually want to get into broadcasting? This is something I can seriously consider as a career.
So it's so interesting. We would drive to school every morning, and I would be kind of annoyed with my mother because she'd always have 702 on. And we'd get to school, and my friends were talking about Radio 5 and all the cool things they were listening to on Radio 5. And I was like, I was listening to Berksy in the morning and lots of news. And I remember hearing the news bulletins and thinking about one day being able to do that. Because remember, this was at the height of apartheid.
Yeah.
And what 702 was doing and what the newsroom was doing was actually groundbreaking at that time. And I remember listening to the likes of Brett Hilton Barber back then and going, oh, I'd love to do that one day. And that is actually where my first love of news and broadcasting began. I fast forward then a few years and I'm asked to contribute to a book called Letters to My 16-Year-Old Self. And so I thought, well, this is an interesting exercise. Wow, I love it. Let me go back to my parents' home and into my old bedroom and see what's there. And lo and behold, Clement, I found a folder where I had newspaper cuttings of all the big stories that were happening at the time. And this was around the age of 15, 16, 17. So I was very much about wanting to know what was happening, being engrossed in this world of news and current affairs and just knowing what was going on in our country.
That's so fascinating. What is it about journalism that, because I can see the passion in your eyes, and I mean, for someone who has clearly loved this and wanted to do it from the time when they were still young, it must mean something for you. What does it mean for you now? And is it the same thing it meant back in the day when you were a young journalist?
So I think it's evolved. Definitely it's evolved. And journalism for me remains one of the most important elements of our society. And, you know, mainstream media, as it's often been called, has taken a lot of flack. And you know, Clement, we write things on Twitter, we'll say things and, you know, either it goes, you know, you get this full support or on the other side of it, there's this whole vitriol that comes out. And there's this whole narrative about mainstream media. But I disagree with it because the reality is, or legacy media as they call it. Elon Musk coined the phrase about legacy media and don't believe in that. I vehemently disagree with the likes of Elon Musk and those who believe that legacy media is dead. Absolutely not. I think that it has a place in society. I think that with news and information being so available, the onus is on people to kind of read and consume and listen to everything and make up their mind and listen to Clement in the morning and watch TV news at night and listen to the likes of, I don't know, Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson and kind of form your own vision of the world and the way things are. Don't take everything as 100% gospel, but we also have a responsibility as citizens to be able to go, I'm leaning towards that and I like that, but to read and consume. So yes, to answer your question, a very roundabout way of answering your question, to say my passion still remains and I think journalism still has a massive place in society.
I always say to the listeners that don't just take the one opinion piece you read or you just had Clement or Bongani say something and you take it as gospel truth. Go and do your own research. Like, I listen to Candace Owens and I disagree with probably over 90% of the things that she believes in. I listen to Tucker Carlson. I listen to Megyn Kelly. There are so many people I listen to that I disagree with, but I find that my worldview changes and it's more enhanced when I listen to people I agree with, people I disagree with, and you hear all these different worldviews. So I want to know, because I've always wondered, like, because you really have been quite an important instrument in many of our careers when we were young journalists. And, you know, when some of our former colleagues, when they found out you're coming on the show, and they were like, oh my goodness, finally we can give her flowers.
Aww.
Do you sometimes pause and think, I've really done well with grooming some of the journalists that are today some of the best journalists, broadcast journalists this country has ever produced? I mean, if I think of whether you go to Newsroom Africa, whether you go to the SABC, Prime Media, Kaya FM, you name it, those are the people that came from Katie's hands. Does it ever occur to you that, I've done good here?
Well, I must tell you, I look on with such enormous pride at what everybody has achieved. And I am so in awe of all of you, actually, who've been through my hands. I don't credit myself, I credit you. I credit you for everything, and all of you, and I speak in the plural there, and all of you and what you have done. And of course, every once in a while, you know, you'll say to me, come, I must give you your flowers on air, and I think, oh goodness, I did good there. But actually, I'm so proud, Clement. Mentoring young journalists has been one of my greatest joys. And, you know, whether I'm listening to Kathy Mokhlakhlana on SAFM, or Bongani Bingwa, or Stephen Grootes, Zianda Ngobo on Newsroom Africa right now. I listen to Mandy on the Midday Report. It just goes on and on and on. I don't want to leave anybody out.
Ayanda 947.
Exactly.
Was Griselda ever at EWN?
Of course she
Griselda
was.
Lewis at
Griselda
SABC.
Lewis, my God, we walked a journey with the amazing Griselda.
Oh man,
Yes.
there are just so many amazing broadcasters that really you have helped shape, and I think you credit us. I think we also credit you because
Thank you.
I've
pushed hard.
You did.
I did.
But
I did. I pushed everybody hard.
You pushed us hard, but it also in a good way. I've told a story. I'm sure you don't remember this, but one of the defining moments for me when I was at EWN, probably my second year, I remember getting a call from you, and you said, hey, we've decided we're going to give you a raise. And I remember thinking, oh, this is weird, because normally I used to think people get raises when they ask for them. I have never had anybody who just decides, oh, we're going to give you a raise. We appreciate the hard work that you have. That was the first experience I had. And I remember telling my friends, this is so bizarre. Like, my boss just called and said, we're going to give you a raise because you're working so hard. That was quite something else. So I always remember that. It's so fascinating. We've got so many calls that are coming through. People who remember you as a reporter on 702.
Oh, you're
who
kidding.
used to listen to you back in the day. But before we go to those, I want us to play one of your favorite songs. You sent us a number of songs that you listened to.
That was a very hard exercise, by the way, Clement.
I know.
I couldn't do it. And then I also regretted my choices.
Yeah.
Because I thought, oh my goodness, have I sent in the right songs? I wasn't sure the one was okay for radio, by the way.
I wonder whether, is it on the list?
It was on the list. It was on the list.
Is it? Okay, let's start with Amy Winehouse. Back to Black.
Yes.
Why is it your favorite song?
Oh, I just love Amy Winehouse. She was such a tortured soul.
Mm.
But actually, she just had this gorgeous, gorgeous voice. And there was something about her voice that when she sings, you know, just kind of like gets you in the gut. And that's what when I listen to music that I love, and when I identify a song that I love, it's because I love the melody. Sometimes it's not even about the words, you know, it's because I love the melody and I just love the way it makes me feel. So I love Amy Winehouse generally, but Back to Black is yeah.
Have you listened to Ray? Do you know Ray?
No.
Oh my God, you have to listen to Ray because a lot of people actually think they remind, she reminds a lot of people of Amy Winehouse. She's really amazing. She's really incredible. Okay, here's Amy Winehouse, Back to Black.
My daughter is now a relatively young lady of 29. But when she was about 5 or 6, Katie was an eyewitness reporter for 702. So every morning when I drive my daughter to crèche, she'd be sitting in the car waiting, and she'd ask, when is she coming in? I would ask who. She'd excitedly say, Katie Katapoda. She couldn't even say the surname correctly. And then those are fond memories. And then that's how long I've been following Katie's career.
Wow.
Kabel in Pretoria.
Oh, man.
That's amazing.
Good morning, Clement. Pat here from Spurview. Wow, what a legend you are interviewing today. Yeah, it's actually good to give her roses while she's still alive. I remember being a loyal 702 listener. We used to have these membership cards, 702 membership cards, and I used to receive 702 magazine every month. You know, when you listen to Katie, she would tell stories the way it is. She would interview, and you will actually want to hear her talking the whole day. If yeah, she's quite a great person.
Thank you so much for your WhatsApps. Hey, you've probably done most of the shows, not everyone, most of the shows, because you stood in at the time when Azania was on the 1 to 3.
Correct.
You've done the midday report.
I have.
Right. Have you done Drive?
Yes, I did drive, afternoon drive, but not breakfast drive.
But and then mid-morning, night, you've done mid-morning.
I've done mid-morning, definitely. And I even hosted my own show at some point.
Oh, really?
Yes, I took over with Benedict Macha on Talk at 9 from John Kwelani.
Oh, ooh.
And Benedict Macha and I, yes, we had Talk at 9. And Benedict and I would just have the best fun in studio. It would just be phenomenal. So no, I've never done the money show, by the way.
Yeah.
That I steered clear of.
Yeah, so no money show, no breakfast, but the rest you did.
The rest I
did. In fact, LMT on the WhatsApp line says, good day, Clement. I first knew Katie Katapodis working with Benedict Maga back in the days. Co-hosting Talk at 9. Oh, my goodness.
Yes.
It's so fascinating that a lot of people started on Talk at 9. Like, everybody will tell you, like, especially people who ended up coming on air on 702, that, I started when I was in the evening on 702.
So I used to have this crazy life, Clement, because I was still in the newsroom, but used to host Talk at 9 with Benedict. And we would only finish the show at midnight. I would go home, get a few hours of sleep, and come back. At some point, Dan Moyani was the station manager.
Yeah.
And he had said to me, Brad Dan would say to me, can you please come back and read morning news?
After you knocked off at midnight.
I said, but Dan, I'm still on Talk at 9. He goes, no, we'll just do it for a while. But I made it work somehow.
Yeah.
I got very minimal sleep and I made it work.
You've always been a workaholic, though.
I have.
Do you still overwork?
Yeah, I do. I love to work, and when I don't have much to do, I become very restless. So my family will tell you, even on weekends, they know that I want to keep myself and them exceptionally busy, and they'll say, "Can we please just do nothing this weekend?" I struggle to do nothing.
Yeah, I mean, I remember even on weekends, you would be like, you never switch off.
No.
You are really a true journalist. But there was times that everybody who's worked with you knows. There's a time when you took some time to go to Greece.
Yes.
I think it was August, if I'm not mistaken.
That's correct.
Is it still August?
It's still August. It's still August. That would be my annual leave. I didn't mind working over Easter and Christmas and every other public holiday. But come August, I go to Greece for a few weeks. I file stories when I'm in Greece.
Yeah.
And I would often do that. Because you know what the thing is, Clement?
Yeah.
You know, we said it a bit earlier. I pushed reporters a lot. But I never asked them to do something I wasn't prepared to do myself. And so when the big stories were breaking, it was important for me to come back because I can't ask you to work these extraordinary, abnormal hours and be resting at home. It was never, ever something I could do because I had to lead from the front. So it was very much about we're in the trenches together, and we spent many, many hours. I remember one Valentine's Day waiting, I think it was until 11, 12 o'clock, because former President Jacob Zuma was going to resign. And that was just one of many instances. There was remember the speculation, Clement, a few years ago, that Cyril Ramaphosa was going to resign.
Mm-hmm.
And we know now that he was going to and he wanted to, but they changed his mind. I mean, on that day, I stayed in the newsroom. I was at Newsroom Africa at the time for hours at a time. Missed my son's prize giving, but said to, always said to my boys that I'll make it up to you. I'll make it up to you. He ended up not resigning. So they were like, Mom, was it worth it?
Was it really worth it? So do you take the whole family with you when you go to Greece, the kids as well?
We try. It's not always possible. It's not always possible. My eldest is studying now and he's at varsity, but we try.
Okay. So one of our former colleagues sent me a message and said one of the things they appreciated about you as a boss is how human you were. And I think that is true because, in fact, there's a friend who once told me they came to your office one day and they were going through the most and they told you, oh, I broke up with my partner. And you are a boss that allowed people space to do that. So if there's an employee, someone in your newsroom who is really struggling with something or they're affected by something emotionally, they had space to come to you and say, this is what I'm actually dealing with. And you didn't chase them out. You heard them. Is that something you've always wanted to be intentional about? And where does it come from? Because there was something human about how you led.
Yeah.
And it's not always that leaders lead with humanity and understanding.
No, thank you for that. That's one of the greatest compliments anybody can pay me, to say that I led with humanity, because people were always at the center and at the heart of everything we do. Yes, the stories matter. Yes, the breaking news is important. But ultimately, Clement, it's the human beings in that newsroom who make it work. And it's so important. It's always been so important for me to make sure that I recognize them as humans first above anything. And that's why I like to think I've built such good relationships, because I knew about people's lives and, their happy moments and their difficult moments. And I always said, we must celebrate the happy moments and we must come together in your difficult moments. Because we need to come together as a collective, as a family, actually, because we're expecting so much of each other and spending so much time together. So I've always welcomed and loved those very human connections that I've been able to build. And I think that's why I've stayed in contact with so many of the people that I've worked with over the years, and they'll send me life updates and they invite me to weddings and tell me about babies and and all these good moments, and we've laughed together and we've cried together.
Yeah, that's beautiful all around. Okay, let's get the latest in Eyewitness News headlines. It's exactly 10:30, Mr. Zulu. Good morning.
You're getting it right today, Clement.
Because Kate is sitting across me. I
know.
don't want to be late for the news.
Thanks, Clement. Good morning. Western Cape Emergency Services are clearing the scene of a bus crash that claimed at least 16 lives, including children, near Toes River. 73 passengers were on board when the bus overturned on the N1 in the early hours of this morning. 3 injured victims have been taken to hospital. Alleged crime kingpin Vusmuzi Matlaala has been subpoenaed to appear before the Madlanga Commission next Tuesday, and this is despite attempts to avoid testifying through a plea agreement with the state. This development comes a day after the Pretoria Commercial Crimes Court rejected his initial plea deal with the NPA. Under the original agreement negotiated with prosecutors, Matlaala would have received an effective 8-year prison sentence and would have been excused from appearing before the Commission of Inquiry. And the appointment of Dina Pule as the new Minister of Social Development continues to attract backlash from political parties and other spheres in civil society. Trade union COSATU has also weighed in because it says it was not consulted on the move. But Parliament's Social Development Committee is giving her the benefits of the doubt. And those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 11 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Well, traveling in Basonia, unfortunately, we still have got that accident. It's really a major one. It's causing about a 30-minute hold-up coming out of the Rating interchange. Please be on the lookout there and approach with care. If you want to avoid this backlog, please try to use the N17 or the R59 south into Alberton. Otherwise, if you're traveling in Bedfordview, we've got delays on the N3 north approaching the Kilulis interchange, while on the N12 west, we've got roadworks taking place right near the R24 merge, causing delays coming out of the Edenville Road Road exit. And then in the city of Tshwane, we've got some delays, a slight backup really along the N14 East, just as you come out of the Brakfontein interchange. That's due to roadworks there. Please be on the lookout and approach with care. More updates at the top of the hour. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Aubrey Masango.
Weekday evenings,
8 to midnight.
I believe that there is a deal on the table for Clement Manyathela. To what extent do we become privy to what information he has given to the state? Hangwani Maumel. He hasn't been arrested. His stuff was confiscated. He was never even indicted. So on what basis do you take his stuff? Surely, if we're going to take your stuff on the basis of the fact that you've stolen something or you've done something criminal, then there must be a person that is connected to that gets arrested, right? No, Hangwani Maumel is a free man.
Aubrey Masango.
8 to midnight on 702.
702.
The Dial-A-Bed annual sleep sale is now on with up to 33% off. The Sealy Celebration Plush Comfort Queen Set is now only $8,999. And the 40-wing Smart Zone Medium Comfort Queen Set is reduced to $9,999. Save $6,500. Plus, get fast delivery on our best sellers. Dial-A-Bed. Sleep for life.
Oh, Shane, do you have a sore throat? The Andalex range of lozenges offers two options. At the first signs of an irritated, scratchy throat, use Andalex lozenges for dual-action soothing relief. But for a painful, inflamed throat, use Andalex C lozenges for triple-action pain relief. Andalex, SA's #1 choice for a sore mouth and throat. Andalex lozenges are available at all leading pharmacies and supermarkets.
Just Andalex it.
Andalex, a proud sponsor of The Masked Singer Season 3.
For over 120 years, Shell has been woven into the vibrant fabric of Mzansi, fueling your engines and your dreams, powering your journeys and your potential. We believe progress is measured in the opportunities we create, the smiles we inspire, and the lives we continue to touch. We are more than just energy. We're the everyday difference in people's lives. You can always count on Shell.
FNB Private has just been named South Africa's best private bank at the prestigious Euromoney Global Private Banking Awards 2026. And to unpack what that means, 702 is in conversation with FNB Private for a three-part series exploring the ideas, values, and strategies behind one of banking's highest honors. Each week, John Perlman goes deeper into the award itself, sustainability and investment, with the experts driving FNB Private's vision forward. Catch 702 in conversation with FNB Private every Thursday on Afternoon Drive with John Perlman. FNB Private, your long-term wealth partner.
Hanging out with Clement
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
25 minutes before 11 o'clock on our Hanging Out feature this morning, we've got Katie Katapodis, who is an editor extraordinaire. She was the editor-in-chief of Eyewitness News for a number of years and really has groomed a lot of us broadcast journalists. And she has been everywhere since. You've been at Kaya FM. You've started something private. Was it Nala Media?
I have, no. That was then. I had started Nala at some
that
point.
at the time, okay.
Yes.
And now?
I went to Newsroom Africa. I was at Kaya. I now have a company called Mega Media Group with my partner, Dudu Kobu. And we do a lot of newsroom training, development. I love building newsrooms, Clement. We do some communications training. So there's lots on the go.
Ah, wonderful.
Yes.
Well,
and I still am very involved in SANEF. I have to say that.
Okay. Yes, you've always been with SANEF for as long as I remember.
Yes.
Okay, let's go to some WhatsApps on 072-702-1702.
Hey, how's it, Clement? It's Stephen Curtis here. And, I remember so clearly the first time I spoke to Katie Katapodis. Somehow, I couldn't tell you how I got her cell number. It was in 2002. And I basically just asked her for a job. And I could tell in the first conversation, the first question to me was, have you worked in radio news before? And I had. And I knew immediately from that question that this was a serious person. And what I also knew was the way in which she led people. I mean, EWN was so small then. And all the way through it, the thing that has stood out for me, apart from the guidance and the wisdom, is Katie's bravery, defending her people when things go wrong or when you're under attack or when whatever happens. And that, for me, just defines Katie Catapodis. So, yeah, even now, all of those years later, 24 years later, I sometimes think, if I asked Katie, what would she say? And that's what I do.
Oh, beautiful.
Oh, Stephen.
Bobo.
Hey, Katie. Sure, it's about time Clement had you on his show, especially for this feature, because if there's anyone who deserves to be given their flowers while they can still smell them, it's Katie Catapodis. Thank you so much for your belief in me, for pushing me, for seeing my potential before I even did, for saying no so many times, but you knew why you were saying no until the day that you said yes, and that was when I was ready. Thank you for there's some things that I can't mention because the company can't know about them, but Katie did some things to protect our mental health while we were still at EWN. And that's what I respect you mostly for, because it's something that's not taken seriously in this industry. Thanks once again, Katie. You deserve all the flowers.
Oh,
this is
Masego.
Masego.
Oh, Masego Rahlaga. A morning breakfast
on
host.
ENCA.
On ENCA.
I watch her daily and think, wow.
Beautiful. Here's another one.
Morning, Clement. I mean, you're sitting with the Katie Catapodis, the woman with the best eye for broadcast talent in the country. I mean, she found me. Do you need any more proof? I mean, she also found you, but that's not the point today. But not only is Katie excellent at identifying young, talented broadcast journalists, but she's also got a unique commitment to nurturing that talent, and also the most empathetic leader and most understanding person who knows how to manage each and every one of us. Because let's face it, we all come with our things, we come with our stuff, and no one has been able to navigate that better than Katie. And I, for one, am just absolutely grateful for the opportunity that she gave me when she hired me to read overnight news at 7:02 for EWN 12 years ago this year.
Oh,
Tembekile Mkhototo.
He gave me a few grey hairs, I must tell you that.
Oh,
much.
I'm sure he
my
did.
Goodness. And did I have to learn to navigate things carefully with Tembekile? Because let me tell, and you know the biggest mistake I made with him? One day I called him into my office, Clement, and I said, Tembekile, I know I'm making a mistake by telling you this, but I'm going to say it anyway. You are one of the most extraordinarily talented people I have ever. Worst mistake I made. Because there we go. Did it go to his head in this massive way? And then, of course, I had to manage this diva of a Tembekile.
Oh, he was a diva. He still is.
But look at him now.
Oh, look at him. What a talented broadcaster. What a talented broadcaster. And again, I mean, we've just heard now Stephen Groters. I mean, we are probably soon going to call him veteran broadcaster, and he comes from your hands. We've heard from Masego Rahlaga, who came, and I'm sure you knew her when she was still young.
Yes.
Who's now hosting
Can I tell you a
morning
quick story
breakfast?
about Stephen? Stephen and I had a fallout once.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
I could never have thought.
No, definitely, because Stephen was reading Afternoon Drive on 7:02, and he was excellent at it. But he was so comfortable. And I thought, no. I'm sorry. There's more I can do with this man. He's capable of so much more. And so I took him off the desk. And I said to him, I want to start training you as a politics reporter. Was he not cross with me? He was so cross with me. He was like, but I love anchoring news.
That.
I'm so good. I said, yes, you are good. And he truly was fantastic. And, he was miserable with me for a long time. And look at him now.
I can't believe that, because Stephen is obsessed with politics.
Correct. And he's so darn good at it. That's the thing.
I was under his wing when I joined Eyewitness News, and I also became a political reporter. So to think that he was about it in the beginning is quite interesting.
Because I spotted something about him and said, just trust me. This is going to work. And it did.
Oh, man. And it did indeed. Okay. So we've got some more WhatsApp voice notes that are coming through. So many of your former little kids are coming and sending us voice notes because they remember just the contribution you've had on them. But let's go to what others are saying on 072 702 and 702.
Hello, Clement. Jacob Mushukwa here. Again, I'm just so happy that I'm in Johannesburg this week and I'm driving around doing errands, etc. And then I switch on the radio and I hear my boss, Katie Catapodis. She's still my boss. Even though it's a former boss, she's still my boss. She's still my leader. I am eternally grateful to that lady. She gave me so many opportunities. She believed in me when I didn't even believe in me. I've got an amazing motoring journalism career now, thanks to her. It was at a time when I never thought I would be doing something like that. She deserves the world, this lady. Never mind flowers, she deserves the world. Yeah. Shout out KK, we'll chat. I actually miss working for her and having her being my boss, my very strict boss. I don't know how we are in love with this woman.
Oh, man.
Because she was lashing us in that newsroom, man. But only now in our older age, we realize that it was all for a good cause. Shout out KK.
Beautiful. Thank you, Jacob. What are you doing in Joburg?
You know, can I tell you how I found Jacob?
Yeah?
On Soweto TV. I watched him on Soweto TV and thought, oh, I like that young man.
Was he a journalist?
He was anchoring. And so I phoned him. But he didn't believe it was me. He thought his sister was pranking him. So I said, hello, is this Jacob Moshokwa? I said, hi, Jacob, this is Katie Katapodas. And he said, no, impossible. You're messing with me. And I said, no, actually, it is me. And he was driving at the time. He said, no, hang on, I need to pull over. And he pulled over and we had the conversation. And the rest, as they say, is history.
Oh, man. That's
incredible human.
I love
Jacob.
hearing these stories.
Greetings, Clement, Katie, and the 702 family. My name's Jessica Dube. I was the Drive 959 producer at Kaya, and my desk was right next to the whole Kaya News team and next to Katie's office. And I cannot tell you how many times I either sat there, listening to the incredible way that she led the team, watching it in action, and also just oftentimes popping into her office. As an entertainment show producer, I think there were certain things I needed to learn journalistically, and being right there with Katie and her awesome team, watching her lead, not just from her head, but from her heart. I was truly inspired, and there are few awesome leaders like her in the world. I just want to give her all the props, the credit that she deserves, the trophies that she deserves, and I wish her all the best. Our country needs the likes of Katie Katapodas. She's an absolute legend, and I just continue to wish her the best in her career. Awesome. Thank you, Clement, for having her on the show. This is one of the best interviews ever.
Beautiful.
You guys are moving me so much. Thank you, Jess.
Let's go to the calls now on 011-883-0702. Mandy Wiener is calling us before. I'm sure she's on the way to work because this show starts at 12. Mandy, good morning.
I should be at work, right?
You should.
Listen, I'm so happy that you're giving Katie her flowers because I always joke that every single broadcast journalist in this country has been to the Katie Katapodas School of Journalism. And you can always see it, that Katie has touched them and pushed them. And my story is exactly the same. Katie gave me my big break. She sent me out on my first story, but she also took a gamble on me, Clement. She gave me 2 months of paid leave to go and write my first book that I ever wrote. And it totally paid off. She didn't have to do that. She just has this vision. She's able to see what is possible in the future. And she pushes, hey? Katie instilled this love of breaking news. She is a bit obsessed with plane crashes.
Yes, that's so true.
Obsessed with plane crashes, but she makes you want to be better. I remember walking into her office when I was a young journalist, and she gave me a copy of Jim Collins' Good to Great and taught me that good is the enemy of great. So you always had to be better. You always had to push, and that made me want to be a better journalist. And that's something that comes with mentorship, with vision. And we in the journalism fraternity owe Katie so much for what she's done. Katie, thank you so much.
Mandy, thank
we love
you. Thank you. Love you too. This is an amazing call. I got into trouble for that, by the way.
For the 2 months leave?
For the 2 months leave. Because every time, but we also had great leaders here at Prime Media at the time. And I think you still do, but then, the ones I worked with, and they would say, well, where's Mandy? I'll go, no, she's working on a breaking story. We haven't seen Mandy in a while. Yeah, this is a very big investigation.
Yeah. How many
but it paid off.
Yeah, how many books now, Mandy, under your name?
7. And Katie's also written a book, eh? Katie's also an author.
Yes. She's also an author.
Thanks to Mandy, by the way. She pushed me to write a book.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
Oh, beautiful. Mandy, thank you. Chat to you just before 12.
Thank you, Mandy.
I'll see you, Clem.
Cheers, Mandy Wiener, our colleague here at Prime Media. More WhatsApps.
Morning, Clement and Katie. I mean, my only gripe is that I have been given 30 seconds to talk about the Katie Catapulters. Are you joking? On a more serious note, Katie, there's so much to say about what you have done for this industry. I mean, I said to you once, not too long ago, that you are that girl. You really are that girl. And I hope you know that. And I hope you know what you have done for many of us and that you continue to do so. And I know that you will never stop. So this is a heartfelt thank you for everything that you have done for many of us and molding our careers, to be quite honest with you. I will never not praise you for everything you have done for this industry. What a pioneer. What a girl.
What a girl.
Thank you, Lynn.
Oh, Lebo. Bye. Yeah, I'm getting goosebumps because I'm remembering, these are the people we worked with for quite some time in the newsroom. And it was probably one of my best times in any workplace, working with the community that you built at EWN. Okay, here's another one before we play the song, because there's a song I need to listen to.
You need to listen to
that
it.
I need
My
to
current
listen
obsession.
To. Yeah, let's do this WhatsApp voice note before the break.
Hey, Clement, good morning to you. Good morning, KT. Wow. One of the finest news editors I've ever had the privilege of working with in my, career in radio. Her integrity and credibility have always been at the heart of everything that she does. I mean, those values really shaped not only the newsroom, but everyone that was fortunate enough to work alongside Katie. She really inspired us. Her leadership drove us and pushed us for excellence, never losing sight of the people behind the stories, because those are the people that were important. She always looked after our mental health, our physical health, to make sure that we're all okay. And I'll never forget during those breaking news stories when pressure was tight, Katie always brought this calmness, this compassion, this sense of purpose that really earned the respect of her colleagues and the trust of the audience that we drove. So she really has left a lasting mark on journalism and me personally. And boy, oh boy, when things got tough and she came down on me, she's a tough boss. Make no mistake, Clement. I was called into that office many times and, got the dressing down. But I tell you what an incredible privilege it has been to work with Katie, because she's really driven my career so much to where it is today. So thank you very much, Katie.
Oh, Aki Anastasia.
Amazing, Aki. Thank you. Another person I count as a very dear friend these days.
Oh, Aki. Everybody has been to your office.
I was always calm, by the way.
Oh, absolutely. You're not. But I don't remember being called into your office for... I do remember one moment when I did a story about Musi Maimane. He was campaigning in Tshwane, and then I came back, did a story, and he complained that we misquoted him. And I think we did misquote him. And it was the first time ever that I had to go sort of redo the story, and we had to apologize because we misquoted him a bit. And for me, that was probably the only time that I ever came to your office and it was like hectic.
Uh-oh.
I don't remember a time. Do you remember a time when you gave me a dressing down?
No, Clement, not
so
with you.
I was a
Can
good
I tell
employee,
you,
right?
You were a pleasure. Of all the grey hairs I got, yours was, you were not one of them. You were an absolute pleasure.
It's 10 minutes before 11.
Big advances in health are happening right here in South Africa. Local researchers are studying a new TB vaccine called M72 that could help stop people from getting seriously ill. And programs like Cochimpilo are helping men living with HIV overcome stigma, start treatment, and stay on it through peer support and private chat guidance. It's South Africans helping shape the future of global health, supported by the Gates Foundation for 25 years. Partners of human potential.
Looking to save money on your business insurance? Switch to OUTsurance Business Insurance and you could get a massive 20% discount on your business insurance premium. Here's Niku from the Gas Mart.
I was my previous event. I wish we switched sooner to OUTsurance Business Insurance.
Get a quote to switch and save today. Visit outsurance.co.za or call 0800 60,000. Licensed insurer in FSP. TCs and information online.
Incredible Mazda moments of wonder await around every scenic twist and turn at 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk. Because on Sunday, 26th July, you get to discover 5 Mazda wonder experiences on the 8-kilometer route from a stunning Japanese garden to a world of color. Visit one and share your wonder moments on Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok. Then tag and follow at Mazda SA using hashtag Mazda SA, and you could win your share of 50,000 Rand thanks to Mazda, where wonder awaits. Official vehicle partner of 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk. T's and C's apply.
Hanging out with Clement
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
8 minutes before 11 o'clock. We're on air. Katie.
Yes, we're on air. I must remember that. We're on air.
So I'm saying to Katie, I want to play one of your favorite songs, but we've got so many messages, and a lot of them are coming from your kids. Let me read you a few, and then hopefully we'll have time to play the song before we wrap up. But Khomutso Modise says, Clem, I just want to send a special message to Katie. She laid the foundation for my journey in journalism, and I cannot begin to express how grateful I am to her. To this day, I think, what would Katie say when I approach a story? She's truly a gem. Thank you, Katie, for giving young, wide-eyed baby journalists like me a chance.
And look where she is now.
Look where she is. You know, she's
Doing
married
the
now.
most
She's got a
amazing work.
baby.
I believe so.
Yeah, and she was so
Standing
young just the other day at
on
EWN. Crazy.
Amazing.
Ayanda Nyati as well says, oh my God, Clement, you have to send my love to Katie. I'm so glad she's been given her flowers. Like many journalists in this country, I'll always take her call. And you
And
do
my
always
peppermint
call.
crisp pudding.
Yeah.
I made him the most delicious peppermint crisp pudding of late, and he's obsessed with it. And I did promise him at some point I'm going to make him another one.
Another one. Beautiful. WhatsApp voice notes on 072 702 1702.
Good morning, Clement and the team. We've got a lady, the Katie Katapodas. You know the way I used to love Katie Katapodas and giving us reliable news. I had a colleague I will talk to and said, and he will ask me, where did you get that? I said, I had it from Katie Katapodas. And that guy called me, hey, a person of Katie Katapodas, Umuntuga Katie Katapodas. So I ended up being called Umuntuga Katie Katapodas.
Oh, hi. Hello, Clement. Hello, Katie. This is Bonga Dulane, a former pupil of yours, if I will say. I just wanted to say thank you for everything. I mean, I think we worked together briefly at Newsroom Africa, but I was based in KZN. And I remember this particular time when I had just done a crossing regards with the death of the king or the queen. I can't remember exactly because it happened so successively. And then Katie called me directly after that, and she gave me such amazing feedback about how controlled I was, how good the crossing was, and how proud was of me. And that just tells you exactly, Clement, the kind of manager that she was. I mean, you always hear about how in newsrooms people are always mean to you when they give you feedback. But for Katie, even if it was constructive criticism, it came from a place of care and also a place of you and her wanting to succeed, wanting you to go further. So I just want to say big ups to Katie. I enjoyed the speech chat today because it's her. She's one of those people who's, can I say, has made my career even better than I thought it would have been. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Wonderful
I saw him recently. I had a meeting with the French ambassador. He works for the French embassy.
Correct.
He was there. So, so good. So good to hear from you, Bonga Dlilani. Okay, tell me about this Sushi Bee song that you say I have to hear.
So, Sushi Bee is this new sensation, at least in my eyes, in South Africa. I've got the song on repeat in my car. When I'm not listening to the news, of course.
Yeah.
And I just have it full blast. I love it. It's got this mix of African, but there's a bit of a Spanish feel to it. It's nostalgic. It speaks to your heart and your brain in a way you can't imagine. You have to listen to this.
Well,
my latest obsession.
Let's hear Sushi Bee.
ngibone ubuso bakho buhle ngathi lilanga liphuma ngasentshona kodwa imbali nesikuni yathunga lifuna ukuyikhusela kodwa yandikhubeka ngathi ndiyaphoswa ndiphinde ndibuyiswe ngabe inhliziyo yami iyandisekisa intombi yami enesono ngamthanda kodwa engomnye ngoba ndiyaloba kodwa ndiyazibuza kufuneka ndenze njani intombi yami enesono.
Okay, Katie, we see you. Do you dance along to this song as well?
I love it. I love the song.
Oh, it's a good one. It's a good one. JJ Tabani, well, get it right, Clement. Professor JJ
Yes,
Tabani on the
hello,
WhatsApp line
JJ.
says, Clement, Katie birthed Newsroom Africa. She set a tone for a new kid on the blog. She was a bit of a god of the newsroom, but allowed everyone to flourish at the end. That's a message there,
Oh,
Professor
thank you,
JJ
JJ. That's
Tabani.
incredibly kind.
And then another one says, hi, Clement. Much appreciated for bringing Katie Katapodis to this. I'm missing news. I thoroughly enjoyed her book. You speak in the book about what? Balancing newsroom, being
that was
a mother.
the whole point of the book, yeah.
Uh-huh.
It's called I'm Missing News. My eldest son coined the name because for a very long time he thought Eyewitness News, he was little, he thought it was I'm Missing News. Yes. Which I thought was fantastic because it was this whole thing about balancing, you know, this whole work-life balance, balancing breaking news and breastfeeding kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yes, so it was just an account of that.
Oh, Katie, I asked you for this interview either 2 years ago.
It must be 2
2 years ago.
Clement, must
And-
be about 2
and
years ago.
I said to you, I'm not going to give up. I'm going to persist until you come to studio because I do truly believe that you deserve to be appreciated.
And I'm so grateful that you kept on persevering.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you for everything. Thank you for the role you've played in my life and giving me the opportunity to join this company that I've been now part of for over 10 years. And I think I share with some of our former colleagues who've just appreciated you for leading with heart. Thank
Aw,
you.
Thank you so much and keep shining. You're doing incredible work.
Thank you. It's a minute before 11.
Jozi is moving. People are showing up. Communities are stepping up. We see you, Jozi. Asambe. ABSA is proud to partner with 702 Walk the Talk on 26 July. Thousands will take to the streets of Jozi CBD and celebrate what makes this city iconic. Visit absa.co.za/702 Walk the Talk. ABSA is an authorized financial services and registered credit provider.
Hi, this is Michael Owen, Hollywood Bets brand ambassador. Being a champion, I know the best performances come from making the right decisions on and off the pitch. Enjoy the game, enjoy the excitement, but play responsibly. Gambling responsibly is about staying in control so you can enjoy it your way. If you or someone you know needs support, help is always available. Call the South African Responsible Gambling Toll-Free Counselling Line on 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
On Sunday, 26 July, the entire city unites for the 702 Jozi My Jozi Walk the Talk. Walk the Talk. And because Joburg is more than just a city, we'll be walking for the people. So join us and help make a difference to homelessness in the city by entering on primemediaplus.com and donating vouchers.
Donate a voucher.
Which is a cashless way to give, helping people experiencing homelessness access a hot shower, a meal, a bed, or more support. Anybody can join and everybody can donate. 702 Jozi My Jozi Walk the Talk, hosted by the City of Johannesburg. Enter and donate now on primemediaplus.com.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. Western Cape Emergency Services are clearing the scene of a bus crash that's claimed at least 16 lives, including children, near Toes River. 73 passengers were on board when the bus overturned on the N1 in the early hours of this morning. 3 injured victims have been taken to hospital. The police's Andre Trout.
At approximately 1:45 this morning, a bus carrying passengers from Cape Town to the Eastern Cape overturned on the N1 near Toes River. No other vehicles were involved in the accident. Emergency services responded swiftly to the scene, while the cause of the incident remains under investigation.
Alleged crime kingpin Vusmuzi Matlala has been subpoenaed to appear before the Madlanga Commission next Tuesday, despite attempts to avoid testifying through a plea agreement with the state. This development comes a day after the Pretoria Commercial Crimes Court rejected his initial plea deal with the NPA. Under the original agreement negotiated with prosecutors, Matlala would have received an effective 8-year prison sentence and would have been excused from appearing before the Madlanga Commission. The NPA says Matlala now has until the 13th of July to decide whether to accept the revised plea agreement, which would see him serve an effective 12-year prison sentence. Commission spokesperson Jeremy Michaels.
Mr. Matlala is a central figure in the Commission's inquiry, and the arrangements around and preparation for his appearance is obviously extremely sensitive. So at this point, I am simply going to confirm that he has been subpoenaed.
The case against suspended Ekurhuleni Metro Police Department Deputy Chief Julius Mkhwanazi and Municipal Manager Kagiso Lerotla has been postponed to 13 July for further particulars. The pair appeared in the Boksburg Regional Court today, where the defense asked for more information from the state. They are facing charges of fraud, corruption and defeating the ends of justice. The charges relate to an alleged scheme dating back to 2019, where they Lerutla allegedly paid 400,000 rand to Mkhwanazi and an impersonator to appear in court on his behalf after a speeding arrest while he attended an interview for the city's CFO position. His lawyer, Alfie Masenya, says the matter is far from being trial ready.
Right now, we can't really state exactly what items we wish to have, because mind you, we need to file by the 7th, that is next week. So we have up from today up until next week, Tuesday. When it comes to the amended charge sheet, yes, we can confirm that we're in possession of the charge sheet that is amended. However, the amendment, it only relates to some of the alteration of the date. Is not really much about it.
And SAFA President Denny Jordan has thanked coach Hugo Bruce for turning Bafana Bafana's fortunes around following a historic showing at the FIFA World Cup. The team returned from North America this morning after a round of 32 elimination at the hands of Canada, which came on the back of them progressing out of the group stages for the first time in their 4 appearances at the global showpiece event. Hundreds of supporters gathered at a cold or Tambo International Airport today to welcome the team back, while Sports Minister Gaten McKenzie was among the dignitaries who were on hand to celebrate their achievements. Gold is trading at $4,071.25 an ounce. The rand is at 16.38 to the dollar, 21.80 to the pound, 18.67 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $70.74 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got delays on the N12 West. This is in the Pasonia, Glen Vista areas. That's due to a major accident seen right near Komara Street at this particular moment. It's causing about a 30-minute holdup coming out of the Reading interchange. There's also queuing traffic along the N3 North in the Bedfordview area, just as you approach the Gilulis interchange.
A fine day in store for Gauteng today. The temperatures will peak at highs between 15 and 18 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour: Western Cape Emergency Services are clearing the scene of a bus crash that's claimed at least 16 lives, including children, near Toes River.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
Let's walk the talk. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7 and 106 FM.
7 minutes after 11 o'clock. Dumelang, welcome to the third and final hour of the Clement Manyathela Show. Thank you so much for staying with us here on 702, and thank you for showing some love and giving Katie Katapodes her flowers. What a pioneer. What an important instrument in many of our careers as broadcast journalists. It's time now for our Thursday dialogue.
The Dialogue with Clement Manyathela.
It's not just another roundtable discussion.
Let's walk the talk on 702.
So, on our Thursday dialogue today, in the wake of that conversation we had yesterday with Paul Bowie, who is the CEO of Resolve Communications, we're asking, when is it lobbying and when is it undue influence? Former DA leader Tony Leon has come out to defend himself. This is after another former leader of the DA, John Steenhuisen, made allegations against him and Resolve Communications, which have still since sparked outrage and may very well be the subject of an inquiry or some kind of investigation, even through Parliament, because the chairperson of the communications portfolio is now asking the Minister of Communications, Solly Malatsi, to come up front and explain what truly transpired here with Starlink. And these allegations have sparked a debate about what exactly is lobbying and when does it cross the line? Because lobbying itself is not illegal. In fact, it is a recognized part of democratic governance. Businesses or labor unions, NGOs, even civil society organizations, they all lobby government in one way or the other in an effort to shape policy and legislation. So at its best, lobbying ensures decision makers hear from those that are affected by their decisions. It can also become a tool, though, for privileged access, regulatory capture, and even corruption. Remember, Steenhuisen made these serious allegations against Tony Leon and Resolve Communications, claiming that he exploited his connections to arrange meetings between government officials and private companies, including Elon Musk's Starlink. And for me, honestly, what shocked me the most yesterday as I interviewed Paul Bowie is when I asked him, okay, now that you disagree, because he said he disagrees with the opinions and perceptions shaped by Elon Musk, the lies that Elon Musk has told about a white genocide in South Africa. And he said even though he finds that despicable, as Resolve Communications, they're not going to stop working with Starlink. And more importantly, he said, look, we don't think we have an ethical or even a moral responsibility to stop working with Elon Musk or his company, which was quite interesting to me. But yeah, broadly speaking, I don't think they understand. They understand how problematic their position is right now. Because nobody is questioning lobbying, right? Technically, that's not illegal. The abuse of political access, of undue influence peddling, patronage politics are certainly unethical and anti-democratic. I mean, there's a difference between lobbying, making persuasive arguments, and coercion and using the threat of political consequences to pressure elected representatives into serving private interests. That is not lobbying. It is an assault on a member of parliament or a minister's constitutional oath of office. So you can't use a leader of a DA to pressurize a sitting minister, because they asked John Steenhuisen to meet with Starlink. And when John Steenhuisen gets to that meeting, what happens? They're putting pressure on John. They're saying Solly Malatsi is moving too slowly with Starlink. They pressurized the minister, Dion George, to go and meet with Radisa, a company that was in litigation with that department. And what happens when you say no to Resolve Communications? Go figure. But look at what happened to Herman Mashaba. The leadership of the DA turned against him. He ended up leaving. Look at what happened to John Steenhuisen. He's been demoted to deputy minister. Look at what's happened to Dion George. He's also come out to say, these guys put pressure on me to do this, and I said no. Where is Dion George now? He's not anywhere in government. You've got to ask serious questions about the influence Tony Leon had, and it's naive. It's naive for Paul Bowie to want us to believe that Tony Leon is not influential, because he's a former leader of the DA. He was the author of the report that led to Musi Mamani being removed. He was part of the team that negotiated the GNU. He was on the DA's election review panel. So he's not a normal corporate citizen, and he can't be treated like that. Not when he uses his proximity to officials to serve his clients. So joining us now on the line for a discussion about lobbying are my three guests, but I also would like to hear from you. So please feel free to give me a call on 011-883-0702. You can send your WhatsApps as well on 072-702-1702. When does legitimate advocacy end and undue influence begin? Is lobbying simply about ensuring policymakers hear different perspectives, or do you think it can become a sophisticated form of political access? So when does lobbying become undue influence, I guess, is the question. Also, we need to have a conversation as South Africa about the regulatory framework that is required, because there's no dedicated lobbying legislation. So what then becomes the consequences of that regulatory gap? Joining me now is Sandile Swana, who is a governance and political analyst on the line. Thank you so much for making time for us, Mr. Swana. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for inviting me.
We're also joined by Dr. Onkgopotse JJ Tabane, communications strategist and political commentator on the line. Dr. Tabane, thank you so much for also joining us. Good morning.
Thank you, Clement. Thank you for inviting me.
And we have Abdul Wahid Patel, who's the president of the South African Lobbying Association. Abdul, thank you so much for your time as well. Good morning. Abdul, can you hear us? I think you're muted there. Perfect.
I can hear you. Thank you. Good morning, Clement, to your listeners and the fellow panelists.
Thank you. Let me start with you, Mr. Swana. When we look at lobbying, like, what is it in a democratic society?
Lobbying, let me start off by saying that in any society, because that's where we're going to have a problem. In any society, anything that is going to impact on the distribution of resources and opportunities must be done on agreed rules. In other words, you as a nation, you as a community must know what the rules are for that. Then lobbying then basically at its most gentle form would be to say, could I sell you this idea? Could I sell the nation this idea? Could I sell influential groups this idea? In other words, you spread your idea, you fertilize the environment for your ideas. Then you have the stronger one that starts to be a little bit stronger, where you start wanting to persuade people to contract with specific companies, or where now the actual hardcore opportunities come in, as opposed to general policy and changing the way of thinking of people. For instance, just to talk on the first one, when you lobby for the rights of gay people, just as an example, or abortion and things like that, you want to influence the minds of society. But when you lobby for a specific contract or a specific domain of business, such as Starlink, then that is what I would call the stronger version, where now there's real tangible opportunities and money-making opportunities that are on the table. So that is what I would regard as lobbying.
Got you. So then, Professor Tabane, this term, even though it often carries negative connotations, it's simply then another form of, I guess, strategic communication, isn't it? Is it common practice in communication firms to be the facilitator between clients and government officials?
Absolutely. Actually, lobbying, even if it's not usually labeled like that in a South African context, is very much a part of our democracy. If you look at the private sector, they would call it stakeholder management. They would call it government relations. They will call it public affairs. There is a set of portfolios that are usually clubbed under something called corporate affairs, right? The real job of those people is to create a bridge between their company and the government. So if the government is busy with the legislation that's going to impact negatively on that company, they would then even hire somebody full time in the organization. And I've held a job like that before in a listed company where you are called general manager corporate affairs or group executive corporate affairs. Your full-time job is to lobby government to look out what government is doing so that you can ensure that the input of your company is taken into account. The extension of that is that if you have a PR company on retainer in that organization, they would then get involved with that because that may require meetings, it may require conferences, it may require press conferences, it may also require hosting the government, hosting ministers. When I worked for the Chamber of Mines, for example, Chamber of Mines is about 20 CEOs of mines. I was surprised that they had not engaged with, for example, the Minister of Finance at that point, Trevor Manuel, when he was considering what was called the royalty bill. And my job was to invite the Minister of Finance to speak to the CEOs, right? So the lobbying is part of that. And as Mr. Swana was saying, that's on policy and so on. Where it becomes problematic, it's where now it has to do with procurement. So there's a tender out, and now instead of you going straightforwardly to bid like everybody else, emissaries are sent to the relevant people who are going to make the decision. That's where it goes wrong. But otherwise, it's actually part of a democracy. In fact, Parliament opens up when they have a legislation coming. They open up and say the next 60 days it's open for public comment, and that public comment is exactly to influence that policy to change certain things. Why? So that it doesn't affect society negatively.
So, what is ethical lobbying then, Abdul? Because if really, as JJ Tabani explains, this is a common practice in communication firms, what does ethical lobbying look like in a democratic South Africa? Because part of the conversation I had with Paul Bowie yesterday is that as a former politician, you can't use your proximity and access to cultivate favorable outcomes of your clients. If you are especially an influential person still in that political organization. I mean, he hasn't walked away, Tony Leon, that is. He's still very much part of the DA and often gets invited to be part of important conversations or panels or discussions on the GNU, you name it. So what does ethical lobbying look like in a democratic society?
Thank you, Clement. And let me align myself with the views of both Mr. Swana and Professor Tabani when I want to emphatically say that ethical lobbying is in fact a legitimate and necessary component of our democracy, but also of our socio-economic development. And it's a process where not just business, but as has been alluded to, many different strata of institutions and organizations within society, civil society itself, trade unions, community, faith-based organizations, citizen groups themselves take up interests and concerns, lend their views and proposals, but also their expertise on those to policymakers and decision makers to achieve a better outcome, to have course correction, to have better policy design. And so to answer your question, I think for us as a South African Lobbying Association, at its core, ethical lobbying is 5 very simple but fundamental principles. The first is integrity and lawfulness, including respect for the independence of public decision makers. The second is a commitment to be transparent in what you do, why you do it, who you do it for. The third is accuracy and truthfulness. The fourth is to be accountable. And the fifth is to not lobby in a way where you close down the opportunity for access to those who might even have views that's counter to your own. And so this notion of equal access. And so in saying those 5 fundamental principles to you, I also want to take this opportunity to say, we must then also say what is not good lobbying. And I think good lobbying is not good when it violates those five principles and fundamentally becomes about propaganda and
Mm.
sensationalism.
Absolutely. In fact, the Public Relations Institute of Southern Africa, PRISA, which is one of the regulatory bodies, released a statement yesterday because they've been following the debate around Resolve Communications, and they said that um, Resolve Communications is not a member of PRISA, and therefore they're not bound by its code of conduct. But what they were proposing is that there must be mandatory disclosure of lobbying engagements with public office holders, including by firms operating in the public affairs space. There must be wider adoption of professional code of conduct across the industry and not solely among PRISA members, and also movement towards statutory or core regulatory recognition of public relations and public affairs practice in South Africa. And Mr. Swana, what that then leads me to the lack of a regulatory framework, if you will, because South Africa has no dedicated lobbying legislation. So what then becomes the consequences of that regulatory gap?
The consequences of the regulatory gap, because is first and foremost, which I suppose is the very center of this interview, is unmanaged conflict of interest, right? So there is no question, and we know this. I mean, people talk about javelin in South Africa, right? So I'm the DG of the Department of Mines, Minerals, and Energy, or whatever. I know a lot of stuff. I know where prospecting rights lie, this and the other things, where I can possibly even take advantage of getting myself into mineral rights and whatever. Then my contract ends in December. I'm now ready to go and take advantage of those things one way or the other, or advise Anglo-American goldfields and other mining companies that there's this and this and this. Now you're trading on insider information that is not yours, really. That information belongs to the nation. It belongs to the Republic of South Africa. So it's a form of insider trading. So we are now in the current situation open to insider trading. Now, whether you are looking at our mentors, and we don't have good mentors in my judgment, our two mentors, the UK and the USA, you look at what Trump is doing over there, and you ask yourself as to, is there any conflict of interest? Is there nepotism in this? What is going on? You look at the Tony Blairs of this world in the UK. So that is why when I opened up this, my presentation, was that first of all, as a nation and as a people, agree what is permissible, as Abdullah's child, to say, this is what is ethical lobbying. This is what must be there. This is what must be prohibited. And you take that, you put it into law with penalties. I have great respect for self-regulation, but self-regulation must be backed up with law. There must be legal consequences. And I'm happy to see that Kusela Digo has sent a letter to Malachi to ask the basic questions, which might lead to an inquiry.
And hopefully there's more clarity that's provided here. Professor Tabani, so do you think then companies should be allowed to pay firms to lobby government on their behalf? And in as far as transparency is concerned, should these communications or lobbying firms disclose who they are lobbying on behalf of, because they do risk the perception of selling political access?
Yeah, look, unfortunately, we're down the line in that becoming a culture. It's already a culture, very, if you like, very systemic culture. Take, for example, what is called the Progressive Business Forum. I don't know whether you know about it. The ANC basically brings their ministers to engage with business.
Yeah.
They say, they even use it as a fundraiser to say, if you want to sit on that table with Minister of Trade and Industry, it's 20,000 or it's 2 million rand. What happens in that table? Other than lobbying. So there's that. But also look at civil society. If you go to parliament, there are organizations that are established purely because Parliament is in Cape Town, including the church. The Catholic Church has an office there that lobbies on all kinds of issues. They issue papers that are saying this is what we want Parliament to do, etc. So in a sense, there's already some kind of a culture, right? And I think that a tighter framework that just deals with the gray areas may well be useful. But we are not helpless now. If you do something that's corrupt, for example, where you grease hands and so on as part of your lobbying strategy, then you are within the realm of the anti-corruption legislation. You will be prosecuted squarely for that. You could be reported. There could be whistleblowers. The public protector can come in. So there are already instruments that can be used, to ensure that everybody is in line, because lobbying may just be a nicely, packaged form of corruption. But at the same time, the other day I was hosting a dialogue on Black economic empowerment, for example. And the Minister of Trade and Industry said something very interesting, that when we open for public comment, we are flooded by white people and white NGOs saying all kinds of, and Black people are quiet. They don't submit papers, they don't lobby anybody, which was quite interesting. It's actually the opposite of what we are talking about, right? That in fact, there's less lobbying that is needed, because remember, these ministers are public representatives. The MPs in a normal society, they're supposed to have a constituency that can lobby them to say there's no water in my area, there's no road in my area, I want this to be prioritized, etc., etc. Right? So I think that it's important that we understand that lobbying must be encouraged, right? But at the same time, the gray areas must be removed. The last point, Clement, in terms of the misuse of this, if you follow the BE debate, there was, especially at the beginning of BE around 2007, when the codes were put in place, there was this tendency for white companies to get Black ex-ministers to be on their boards. Why? That was exactly at the heart of them having access. The Marikana thing, remember the Marikana because we tend to forget. What did Ramaphosa do? Ramaphosa was not part of government. He was a shareholder of Lonmin and rang up a minister and said, hey, can you please intervene? You understand? So this thing is the DA always criticized that. Today we see that they are worse by summoning a minister and trying to bully the minister to do something that actually outside of the law. By the way, Clement, Resolve Communication has had so many tenders from the ANC government, you won't believe it.
From the ANC government?
It's a new thing. Yeah, from the ANC government. Yeah, they must come and deny it. I've come across them on many situations where you come in, you try to do work, and you are told, no, actually this contract is held by Resolve. In the city of Joburg, for example, in a number of other entities that were led by the ANC. So it's not the DA thing. I think the Tenlyon just hijacked the thing midstream, because he knew already it had many contracts from the ANC government over the years, many years. The word Resolve was used so that they could be part of mediation and so on. And that's where there was a lot of money, where unions are fighting with the state, they will come in and so on. So it's not a new thing that they've been doing. They've been lobbying. They know where their bread is buttered. Now there's a government in the DA that are on that bandwagon as well.
Yeah, sure. Abdul, I'll come to you after the latest in Eyewitness News headlines. It's 11:31. Bali, good morning.
Thanks, Clement. A very good morning. The lawyers for alleged crime kingpin Vusmuzikat Matlala have confirmed he will be complying with the Madlanga Commission's subpoena. Advocate Hlawu Maluleke says Matlala will appear before the Commission next Tuesday. But he says it's still uncertain whether Matlala will be appearing at the Commission's premises in Pretoria or from the Kgoshimamburu Correctional Facility. The case against suspended Ekurhuleni Metro Police Deputy Chief Julius Mkhwanazi and Municipal Manager Kagiso Lerotla has been postponed to July 13. The pair appeared in the Boksburg Regional Court today, where the defense asked for more information from the state. The pair is facing charges of fraud, corruption and defeating the ends of justice. While Western Cape Emergency Services are clearing the scene of a bus crash that claimed at least 16 lives, including children, near Dos Rivier. 73 passengers were on board when the bus overturned on the N1 in the early hours of this morning. Well, those are the headlines. This EWN and more at midday or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Rescuing traffic in Eldorado Park. This is along the N12 West approaching Klipspruit Valley Road. This is due to roadworks coming out of the Golden Highway. Expect about a 20-minute hold up there. While traveling towards Basonia, we still have got that accident on the N12 West. It happened right near Komara Street. Delays coming out of the Reading interchange, about a 20-minute hold up there as well. If you want to avoid the scene and you're heading towards the south of Joburg, please use the R59 South and turn off at Swartkopies Road, or you can use the N17 West if you're heading towards the Joburg CBD. While traveling on the N12 West, we've got delays between Edenville Road and the Gilulis interchange. That's due to roadworks there. There's also slow-moving traffic reported in four ways along Cedar Road approaching Witkoppen Road, as well as on Winnie Mandela Drive towards Leslie. Then in the city of Tshwane, some issues being reported along the N14 East right at the Braxfontein interchange. That's due to roadworks there. Please be on the lookout. More updates at the top of the hour. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Sure, they aced it. The Championships Wimbledon experience with the Mzansi Advantage is back at Amex Tennistown Monte Casino between 11 and 12 July 2026. Enjoy VIP hospitality, the ultimate big screen experience, a kids fun zone, and so much more. Buy your tickets now on Howler and get 50% off on limited tickets when you use your Amex card. Tennis is better with Amex. American Express Cards is operated under license in South Africa by Nedbank, a licensed financial services and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
Aquele.
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 Aquela.
Aquele.
Aquili.
Aquele.
No matter how you say it, one thing's for sure. Aquele is South Africa's most loved water brand, refreshing you with pure natural spring water and delicious flavored sparkling drinks. From every sip to every smile, thank you Mzansi for making Aquele a part of your everyday moments. Aquele, spreading joy to South Africa naturally.
The countdown to Food Forward SA's Mandela Day Packing Event 2026 has begun. Join us Friday, 17 July, and spend your 67 minutes making a real difference. Together, we'll pack and sort groceries that will feed thousands of people facing food insecurity across South Africa. Be part of the action. Tickets are on sale now at webtickets.co.za. Food Forward SA, securing quality food, nourishing lives, in association with 702.
The Money Show.
Weekday evenings at 6.
You get online day trading, and then particularly in what people call CFDs, contracts for difference. What kind of complaints are you getting at your office?
The type of complaints we get is people that are registering for day trading, they lose millions, and then they come to us and complain and say, they want their money back. They were misled.
Advocate John Simpson, the Fires Ombud.
The Money Show
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
The Money Show with Stephen Grootes is brought to you by Absa Rewards. Get double cash back depending on your rewards tier when an African team scores and wins at the FIFA World Cup 2026, courtesy of Visa. Use your Absa Visa card at rewards partners on match days to score. Join Absa Rewards on the banking app. Your story matters. Absa is an authorized FSP and a registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
The Dialogue with Clement Manyathela.
It's not just another roundtable discussion.
Let's walk the talk on 702.
24 minutes before 12 o'clock. When is it lobbying and when is it undue influence? You've heard from my guests this hour, Sandile Swana, Professor JJ Tabani, and Abdul Wahid Patel, sharing their thoughts about this topic on our Thursday dialogue this morning. And I want to hear from you as well on 011-883-0702. You can send your WhatsApps on 072-702-1702. And before I come to your calls, and Kenneth, thank you for your patience in holding. I'll come to you in a moment. But Abdul, I wanted us to reflect a little bit before I go to the calls on just the lessons we can take from other countries. Like, how do countries like the United States, for instance, or Canada, or even the European Union, how do they regulate lobbying, differently from us as South Africa? Because, we don't even have the regulatory framework that goes extensive enough. Because I remember when I was in Washington, D.C. last year, when the president was meeting with the U.S. President, Donald Trump, I remember I arrived 4 days before the meeting, and part of what I was doing is have meetings to get a sense of what's going on. And I remember I came across so many lobby organizations. In fact, in Washington, D.C., there's a street that's known as a street where it's only lobbying companies that are on that street. And I just found it so fascinating that it's such a defining factor of American politics, and yet, and they've got a way to manage it, and yet we don't even really have a regulatory framework to manage that. So, what do you think are the lessons, Abdul, that we can take from other countries on how they deal with this?
Thank you, Clement. I certainly agree with you. K Street is no longer big enough
Yeah.
to house the lobbying industry in the USA. It's an important question that you ask. And let me say at the outset, I think we should be careful not to make generalizations or assume that there's a silver bullet. There is not. In fact, there has not been a silver bullet to this dilemma anywhere in the world, whether we are talking about the US, the UK, the European Union, and by that I mean the Commission based in Brussels, or many of its individual member states. And I think that's an important sort of point of departure, because everywhere in the world where there is some form of lobbying regulation, either through law or secondary legislation, or through recognized voluntary or self-regulatory mechanisms, they have unique historical, political, socio-economic contexts, many of which continue to evolve. You talk about the US, even under Trump, in his second term, the manner in which the fraternity has needed to approach its self-regulation has needed to evolve. And so I'm a big student of this particular subject matter, firstly wearing my hat as president of SALA, but I'm also a practitioner in practice. And I think what's important to say is that at a global level, there are important bodies doing significant work that I'm proud to have been part of over a number of years, that are establishing a number of important instruments for collective action in responsible political engagement. And you look at the work, particularly of the OECD, and a work stream within the OECD's public governance program called the Trusted Dialogue Group, which is really looking at collective action for raising global standards for responsible political engagement. And so I want to emphatically say it's not that there are a shortage of tools, frameworks out there. They exist, and it's part of the reason why the South African Lobbying Association exists. But there is no panacea. But to answer your question around useful comparisons, different countries have approached this in different ways. I'll start with the UK, because much of our democracy in South Africa has strong parallels with the Westminster system of democracy. And the Westminster system of democracy has its own evolution of how lobbying, in the way we are talking about it today, came into being compared to the US. In the US, there's a fable about a former US president that used to gather in the lobby of a famous hotel. You've probably seen it when you were there. Clement, called the former Willard Intercontinental Hotel, and he would be bombarded while drinking his whiskey in the afternoon, coming from the White House and smoking a cigar, by private sector companies looking to contract with the state. And so it is alleged that that's where the term came from. In the UK, it's got a very different genesis. You talk to people in the UK and they will tell you in the UK, lobbying has its genesis in the creation of the Magna Carta, which preceded the UK Constitution. And so evolution of history is important, and I think that speaks a little bit to what Sandile was saying in his opening remarks. So the UK has a mixed system where lobbying is in fact recognized under law, but that law doesn't seek to regulate the conduct and its enforcement. It leaves that to the players in the industry, a plethora of bodies across the public affairs, public relations, and other practitioner subsets who have evolved their codes of conduct to ensure that there's appropriate capture of this professional activity, not just by those who are pure lobbyists providing professional lobbying for a fee as a professional service, but also other professional services types that don't necessarily define themselves as lobbyists. And I'm speaking here to some of the points that JJ made, okay? Because those do exist in other jurisdictions. They also exist in South Africa. We have many types of professionals and professions that engage in fulfillment of their client services with some interface with the state institutions, government departments, and regulatory bodies. That too is a form of lobbying for their clients' interests. And so the UK has taken that model. The US has a number of acts that cover these disclosures. And then there's a strong industry fraternity that ensures that good conduct is upheld in the way individual lobbyists, but also lobbying firms do their business on a day-to-day basis. And the European Union has taken a very different approach. Essentially, it accommodates how the European Commission, which is housed in Brussels, is lobbied on very technical policy and regulatory decisions. But the member states of the European Union, the individual 27 nations, each have very differing domestic lobbying frameworks that are localized in order to govern how activity locally in those countries are conducted. And a big mover in the recent years has been the overhaul that has taken place in the Federal Republic of Germany, where they've gone from a strong, robust self-regulatory mechanism to a very legalistic regulatory mechanism. So I hope that gives you a bit of a snapshot of what is out there.
Yeah, it gives us a really good context, and there are lessons here we can take. In DC, just another last example, I remember because I had a meeting with the former U.S. ambassador to South Africa, Ambassador Brigitte, and he invited me to this exclusive club. It's called the Metropolitan Club, and in Washington, D.C., that's basically where the politicians, who's and who's, they come there, and you're not allowed to bring your phone in. In fact, the dress code, you have to always wear a tie, you have to be in a suit, and when you walk in, they take your phone, and you walk inside, and you see these lobby people who represent the lobby organizations, and they're sitting there with Congress people, members of Congress. They're sitting with senators, and I mean, the access that I had in that club to the people who are decision makers, even in the Republican Party, was just ups now.
The Dialogue with Clement Manyathela.
It's not just another roundtable discussion.
Let's walk the talk on 702.
Kenneth, you calling us from Pretoria. Thank you so much for your patience in holding. Good morning. What are your thoughts?
Morning, Clement. Morning to your panelists. It's a very interesting topic. I think, in a nutshell, the problem we have in South Africa is that the only reason we're having this conversation is that the policeman was caught inside the jam, the cookie jam. The DA has demonized lobbying. Lobbying was existing before 94. It's a standard practice all over the world. So when the white establishment lost power, they demonized it. So all the black public officials were put under scrutiny, that they can laugh with anyone, they can talk with anyone, so they demonized it because they were outside power. Now they are back in power, and it's now demonic. Like the Guptas were doing the same thing. The Guptas were not even in the ANC, like you were telling the guy yesterday. They were not in the ANC. They had a close relationship with Zuma. So that relationship gave them access to all these ministers and all of that. They could summon them, have meetings with them, and just like that. So, but it was state capture. We spent billions talking about that. Now it's them. Tony Leon is was the leader of the DA. He is still the leader of the DA. And he is pulling the strings behind the scenes. He's causing all these ministers to meet with these people. So now we must find an acceptable way to change the name from corruption to now lobbying again. must go back to the original name of lobbying, because now you remember it has been demonized as corruption. But if you like, you're giving the example of the U.S., you've got the APEC, where they gather resources, they sponsor their delegates to enter into government so that they can sway government decisions. That has been the standard practice all over the world.
Yeah.
It's only here where we had the DA demonizing it, saying that this is corruption. So now,
there's a lot of transparency even in the U.S. with APEC. You know which members of Congress have been funded by APEC. That level of access is there. Indeed, Kenneth in Pretoria, thank you for your call. Let's go to some WhatsApps.
Hi, Clem. Thanks for a great show. Look, my opinion around this lobbying, it's fraught with corruption. I mean, when I look at America, for instance, you'll see even the Democrats are also affected by this for arms deals. All these representatives that are sitting there, you know, as parliamentarians in the House in Washington, all of them, they are getting supported for their campaigns as individuals to remain in office. So this thing is just corrupt. It is always laced with corruption, because once you have that access to the rich and the powerful, you'll always use it to your advantage. So for me, it's a no-no. It's a no-no, particularly in a country like ours. Already we've got our own problems. This thing doesn't apply to civil organizations. You know, it only applies to private sector by and large. Those are the ones that are profiting out of this whole exercise of lobbying. You know, they will never lobby for social civic organizations. It's just from Centurion. Cheers. Bye.
Thank you, Jed. Let me hear from my guests now about just their thoughts on Resolve Communications, and I'll start with you, Mr. Swana. What do you think was the mistake that Resolve Communications has made, and what do you think happens next? Do you see a scenario where Tony Leon then resigns as chair to sort of save the company? Because part of their work, I mean, I checked out their website before my interview with Paul yesterday, and you can clearly see reputational management as part of what they do. And it's so ironic that they are now coming out. They spoke to us on the show yesterday trying to protect their reputation as a reputational firm. So where do you think the mistake was, Mr. Swana, and what do you think happens next? What do you think is likely to happen?
Yeah, I think that, one of my weaknesses is that I'm a sports fanatic in the literal sense. In that context, there are rules of fair play. That when you have rules of fair play, it doesn't mean things don't go wrong. But the rules of fair play says, okay, this has happened now. Next time we'll deal with it this way and that way. Not necessarily that is decisive, because sometimes I once was in a meeting where somebody started saying, don't try to be holier than Jesus. So all I will say is this. Maradona scored with the head. And I think much later on, Thierry Henry scored with the head. And they all proceeded and their careers prospered. So what I think needs to happen here, this industry and whoever needs to regulate this industry need to come to a place where they say, these are the rules of fair play in this industry. Where did these ones go wrong? I think that Tony Leon has been coy about his power in this nation. He's an affected a person of interest. I forget the name that they use. He's an affected domestic political person. And that needed to be clear to say, guys, we have this person, and therefore our level of disclosure needs to be at a particular level. Now that they've made the mess that they have made, they need to open up rather than denying everything. They need to start proposing a resolution to this and be honest. When did we start associating? Because one of the most controversial, there are two controversial issues. One is the extent to which they've altered people's careers. In other words, the Steenhuisens, the Dion Georges, the Mashapas, and so on. Maimanes, what was going on there? We need that clarity. And then after that, we need to be able to say, like Sepp Blatter, the game must go on, but there must be new levels of transparency. Thank you.
And for you, Professor Tabani, what do you think was the mistake? Because I also think, Professor Tabani, it would be naive of us to think that, this is only happening now and John Steenhuisen has never really worked with this communications firm. I mean, John himself admits that he has met with some of the clients of Resolve Communications. And I mean, the only reason he's speaking out now is because he's been affected. But for the longest time, even when he was leader of the Democratic Alliance, he didn't see anything wrong with what Tony Leon was doing.
Absolutely. In fact, besides Mashaba, because they could say Mashaba is beaten, you can also take the leaf from Patricia de Lille. When Patricia de Lille was mayor of Cape Town, she came into contact with this Tony Leon and Resolve. I think we need to also separate between Tony Leon and Resolve. Resolve is an instrument that Tony Leon is using to influence. But the culprit here is Tony Leon, who's interfering, right, in the current leadership of the DA, those who are particularly in government and those who are outside government but have an influence in government. So he has used this. He has been a factor from Maimani's time right up to now. So I think we need to be clear that he's, in a sense, exposed, that he's not just hands off as he wants us to think, right? Resolve, as I was saying, have not started now. They've been doing this forever. Their mistake, right? Remember, when you are lobbying, part of the trick is not to be in the forefront, but you're trying to be in the forefront, right? So we don't really want to know who you are lobbying for, because then it's easy to be lobbying. It's simply something else now, where you are now part of the story and so on. And media, communicators and so on, we're not meant to be part of the story. Once we become a story, that's where the fault lines are. But I agree with my colleagues that there needs to be some kind of parameters, understanding that this is already an endemic culture that is there and it's happening. And on the other end, there are a lot of NGOs and ordinary citizens and so on who are not doing enough lobbying. Because remember, some of these ministers must be accessible. And in fact, that framework will protect both sides. Because now, if you see me sitting in a restaurant with a minister having tea, and then later on, I get a tender from the department, what are you going to think? You see, you're not going to say, no, he was just lobbying for policy and so on. You will say, no, it was his business interest, and the minister can get into trouble. And then if there's no regulation, ministers will now suddenly become inaccessible. We need these ministers to interrogate them about the policy choices that they are making. They need to go to meetings. They need to come to radio stations. It's all part of influencing them to do their jobs, but also being able to hold them accountable directly. That's why Parliament has, before every legislation, they open up for the public to engage. And because the ministers have been so inaccessible, communication companies have found a niche to now try to make them accessible and charge the fee to companies, to civil society, which is not supposed to be the case. I should be able to write a letter to a minister and get the response. But because they don't respond, I need a second party who knows the minister, who say, hey man, I've sent you a letter, can you respond to these people? And I think that's where the wrong thing then infests. These people must be accessible. There must be regulations that protect both those who are lobbied and those who are lobbying. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, Professor JJ Tabani, Sandile Swana, and Abdul Wahid Patel, thank you so much. You guys have been great in helping us understand where the weaknesses are and how this thing can still be done in a way that's more regulated and benefits not just government, but also South Africans as well. It's 4 minutes now before 12.
When you can see what others don't, you can do what others can't. Nedbank is more than just a bank. We're a growth partner because we understand that real success happens when you're looking ahead, spotting opportunities others miss, and planning for tomorrow, today. Think bigger. Think Nedbank Commercial Banking. See money differently. Nedbank. We're licensed FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
It's lunchtime and Mr. D has you covered. Open the app, pick your favorite meal, and enjoy free delivery between 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. No restrictions, no hustle. Skip the lines, stay at your desk, and let Mr. D bring lunch to you. Plus, every food order on the Mr. D app gives you a chance to win exciting prizes. Download the Mr. D app now and make lunchtime effortless.
The Dial-A-Bed annual sleep sale is now on with up to 33% off. The Sealy Celebration Plush Comfort Queen Set is now only $8,999. And the 40-Wink Smart Zone Medium Comfort Queen Set is reduced to $9,999. Save $6,500. Plus, get fast delivery on our best sellers. Dial-A-Bed. Sleep for life.
Joburg is more than just a city. It's an energy, a pulse, and a feeling connecting everybody. The heart of Mzansi.
It's Joburg.
In celebration of this, 702 has partnered with Jozi My Jozi, and we're calling on you to walk through the city center with us.
Walk the talk.
In the 702 Jozi My Jozi Walk the Talk. Babise bonke. On Sunday, 26 July, we're going to the iconic Joburg CBD, the home of dream creators and operators, where we dominate and history make. So join us and be a part of something special.
I'm ready to rock this book.
Because when Joburg walks together, extraordinary things happen. Enter now on primemediaplus.com and get ready for 702 Jozi My Jozi Walk the Talk this July, hosted by the City of Johannesburg. Walk with the people, for the people, for our Jozi. Babise bonke. Enter Walk the Talk now on primemediaplus.com.
Coming up
on the Midday Report
with Mandy Wiener.
Mandy, good morning.
Hey, Clement.
What's popping vandag?
So, Kat Matlala has been subpoenaed to testify at the Madlanga Commission.
It's going to be so interesting. I think we must go broadcast from there.
Ooh.
We must tell the bosses.
Management.
Please listen.
Come
Yeah,
in.
it's good. What's interesting to me is that if he signs this deal, does that mean he may get to the Madlanga Commission and start really saying a lot about these top cops and how they benefited from him?
Well, let's see if he does. At the same time, the testimony of the person who's been on the stand for the past few days has been postponed for safety concerns.
Oh.
So we're going to find out about that, just to find out what's going on. Suspended EMPD head Julius Mkhwanazi has appeared in court. We'll bring you the latest on that Toast Rafir bus crash in which 16 people were killed. The Ghanaian Foreign Ministry is demanding justice after one of their nationals was killed in Khayelitsha this week. And then it's a Thursday. Our book of the week is The End of Normal from the veteran journalist Max du Preez. I did a wonderful sit down with him, so don't miss that.
All right, that's what's coming up on the Midday Report with Mandy Wiener. Thanks for listening to the Thursday edition of the Clement Manyathela Show. Stay listening to 702 throughout the day. I'll be back with you tomorrow between 9 and 12. Have a beautiful day, my friends. Bye-bye.
This is EWN.
Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. The Madlanga Commission has postponed the testimony of alleged police informant Tumelo Nku due to security concerns. Nku was due to wrap up his testimony today regarding the July 2021 Ayrton drug bust, where police seized a truck carrying over 700 concerns. Nku was due to wrap up his testimony today regarding the July 2021 Ayrton drug bust, where police seized a truck carrying over 700 kilograms of cocaine. Nku has told the Commission he is the one who tipped off the police about the drugs, but evidence before the Commission has shown he could have been working with some officers to traffic those drugs. After a 2-hour delay in his testimony today, Commission Chairperson Vuyiseli Madlanga announced that Nku will no longer be testifying today.
There are security concerns about Mr. Nku. We cannot hear his testimony. The hearing of his testimony will be or is being postponed indefinitely. An announcement will be made in due course as to when the testimony will be heard and under what circumstances.
Staying with Commission matters, the lawyers for alleged crime kingpin Vusimuzi Matlala have confirmed he will comply with the Madlanga Commission's subpoena. Advocate